So one of the things I'm going to start us off with is appreciating how our brains work and what happens when someone moves into an emerald state and what we want to pick up on. And it's basically an assessment of ability. And that's what I do without doing a lot of thinking about it. It's really spontaneous for me. I'm very curious. And so it gives me this opportunity to engage at the same time that I'm assessing. And so I'm figuring some things out. And what it means, I've got to activate my brain. So one of the things we have in our brain in the temporal region, which many of you are super familiar with in PAC if you've done some work with us, and I'll give you the visuals of so anybody have words for that for me? Anybody have some basic words about that you just watched me do?
Rhythm on the right, language on the left.
Right. And so we've got rhythm on the right, over here on the right-hand side in the language center, and we have language on the left. And you lose on the left and retain on the right. And the three language skills are going to be vocabulary, comprehension of speech, and speech production. The 5 rhythm-related skills that tend to be retained are going to be this idea of going back and forth, and in this case, fighting or connecting. So there's a high probability that I will still be able to chit chat and I will be able to argue, or I might be able to use forbidden words and familiar, just friendly words. Hey, sweetheart, how are you doing? How's the family? Well, isn't that remarkable? Well, I never. Well, bless your heart. Well, what an idiot you are. You are the stupidest person. And what I'm demonstrating is what I might actually hear when someone is in an emerald state, where I sort of combine the two. In what I think is, wow, you have the weirdest hair. What do you do to it? It looks like shit. Not realize that what I'm saying could be deemed, that's not okay. You shouldn't say it like that, because I'm mixing up a little bit of what over here on my side? My forbidden words and my chit chat words. They're getting stuck in the same box instead of being in separate boxes. So when I say those words, am I intending to swear? Is it like I'm swearing and trying to be rude? So I might say things like, hey, you fat one, come here. That's a very common place where we might notice. And so what that does for me is it triggers, ooh, I may be looking at somebody who's more likely in an emerald state for temporal lobe activity. Now, the back and forth, the chit chat versus arguing, it can flip flop pretty quick. We can be going back and forth and back and forth. And show me how many digits you got, plus a thumb. So in this back and forth, what I'm looking for in an emerald state is probably about 4 back and forths. And then I may want to start the cycle over. I may not be able to carry this forward very far. So I want to think about keeping things sort of in a handful and see what happens if I go a little further. And the time I will be able to go further is when I hit the sweet spot. When I hit the sweet spot, they will be able to move it forward, and they will keep it going forward, and they will keep it going forward, and they will keep it going forward, because they'll hit the sweet spot. And when they hit the sweet spot, do this. What happens is the file over here on the left-hand side for language, comprehension, and visual recognition software. Some of those storage areas where we had some visual recognition, and over on this side, this linkage across the middle happens, and it's like a, oh, wow, this is going really, really well. And so they're telling me things and they're right on the money and the story is great. And then they build on it and build on it. And then they get to the finale. And then, did I ever tell you that I was from West Virginia? And you're like, no, no, not again, not again. So in that moment, that transition, it's hard for us, but we have to remember what they did is they transitioned almost into a diamond state. But the diamond was about the language and the memory, and it was all super clear. And then they got to the end, and it's like, oh, I don't want to lose the connection. Oh, I don't want to lose this moment. Oh, I don't want to stop. I'm really enjoying this. So they do the emerald thing of starting over again. But it's a little different than somebody who's in a standard a diamond state where you know that they're going to go history, but when they come, they're present in the moment and they know where they are. So this is where we also have this thing about what's the other gift that they have, the rhythm of speech. And we can notice a change. What did you notice happened with my voice as I did all that? When I said you hit the sweet spot, what happened to my voice and my energy?
Yeah, you seem to get a little more excited, a little more engaged.
Yeah, so you will always notice when you've got an emerald who's hitting the sweet spot, because you will see their energy start to mount, and it can be in a good way. And then this is also where you hit the pain points. You'll know when you're getting to a point of pain or really discomfort moving to pain. Where is she? I can't find her. She's, I don't know where she went. I was just talking to her and now she's not here. And so this balance between being excited and satisfied with something and then suddenly slipping a gear and going to another file folder, skipping a space, like we missed something in between. It was like, wow, she was great. She was talking about her grandma. She was talking about, all this stuff she did. And now suddenly she's terrified. Where is her grandma? So what she wasn't able to do is move forward in time. So these file cabinets that they have are not always available. When they are, several file cabinets can open, and the thing that's missing is the awareness of passage of time. There's no awareness of it. So I've got to really be tuned into that to not step in the mud. And so one of the things I'm pretty good at is switching from past tense to present tense to past tense to subject matter to where is she? Oh, you're looking for her. And not assuming we're talking about the same person we've been talking about in the same place, in the same situation. I've got to be ready for I'm in a different place with a different person doing a different thing. And it's like, okay, where are we? And it's sort of like, think about being on a surfboard, because it's really like the waves and you don't know when one's going to hit, but you got to be ready to ride the wave, and you either stand with it and you go, or you just sort of hang there and stay away from the shore, because you can crash pretty easily if you get going too fast, and then you guys get separated and suddenly you're going under because they aren't liking what's going on and you're not really feeling comfortable. So as we're going through the rest of the temporal lobe, I'm spending time on this because classically, as we interact with people, language is one of the first things we might notice. And it's one of the first things that gives us a signal. I am not looking at someone in diamond state. I'm not looking at someone in amber state. I'm really looking at somebody more in an emerald situation here. So the other things that I will notice is a liking of music, but I'm really curious, when someone is in an emerald state, what kind of musical stuff might I offer? Because it could be music, poetry, prayer, or counting. But what might I offer as a starting place if I pick up on something? What do you think I could offer first as sort of a testing ground to see music? Where might music take me? Because it's sort of a universal for me. I will often offer something with music to see if I can find any pleasure points or pain points with music, because it's something that we can share without having to be real close. It's something that we could share that might create a relationship. It gives me things to avoid and things to consider offering. So it gives me a variety of things in short. I don't need to know a lot about the person except, okay, so what are some musical things you think I might try out here, guys? What's the idea? Little ditties. So Amanda's suggesting the possibilities of little ditties to maybe get going. So, ooh, I was thinking of something. There's this saying, and I'm trying to think of all the details on it, but it's something like a stitch in time saves something. It saves something. A stitch in time saves. So what is it?
9.
9. Yeah, it saves 9. So a stitch in time saves 9. Oh, how about this one? Don't count your something. Don't count your something before they hatch. Don't count.
Is it chickens?
Chickens.
Chickens
Yes,
use
don't
rhythm?
count your chickens before they hatch. And then there's let's see, what's that other one? Oh, people in glass houses. Something about people in glass houses shouldn't do something. What is it? The people in glass houses shouldn't.
Throw bricks.
They shouldn't
Throw bricks.
throw bricks. Oh, so they shouldn't
Yes.
throw bricks. That's a good one. They shouldn't throw bricks. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So why do they not want you to throw bricks? I wonder what it is about bricks.
Because it could break the glass.
Oh, so it could show. Oh, it breaks the glass. Yeah.
Yes.
You're right. Yeah. And I guess if you count chickens and some of them don't hatch, then you end up like thinking you have more chickens than you do, and you don't actually have that many chickens. Yeah, you're right. Oh, now I'm trying to remember when I was a kid, it seems like there were some songs that were sort of like, they were like that kind of stuff. Like, okay, they were sort of saying songs like, and counting songs. I'm trying to think. There was a This Old Man song. It was a This Old Man and he did something. And I mean, he did and it's like a counting song. Do you remember? Da, 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 da. It was something like that. I think that's the tune of it. Da, 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 da.
Knick-knack.
He played one.
He played, yeah, you got it. Yeah. So it went, so this old man, he played one.
He played knick-knack on my thumb.
Ah,
That it?
yeah, that's it. And what's with a
With a knick-knack paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home.
and there's motions that go with it, right? That's what I was thinking. There were motions that go with it.
Well, I don't know the motions.
Oh, you don't know the motions? I don't remember all the motions. I remember in the knick-knack, paddywhack, something like that. And you give the dog a bone, you throw the bone over your shoulder.
Cool.
And then this old man came rolling home. Now, I don't remember this old man, but I remember some of the motions. Do you guys know that one? Do you remember that one? Now I'm seeing, oh, Amy C knows it. Yeah, Amy, do you remember? Now, were you a little kid when you learned that one, or were you a grown up when you learned that one? Oh, a little kid. Yeah. Oh, how about this one? This one's even older, I think. Da 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 da. Anybody know that one? Does that one sound familiar?
Ring Around the Rosie.
Ring Around the Rosie. So how am I starting each of these songs? How am I doing that? I'm starting with rhythm. I'm starting with some simple questions. Ooh, does anyone know that? So am I asking a specific person? Nope, I'm putting it out there. And then I do some motions, and then I'm going back to what kind of songs? Childhood songs. So I'm going back to sort of a universal. Well, but it may not be. And that's where I've got to establish, are our patterns of childhood similar? Is that a safe space for me to go? Is that something that we have in common that could connect us? Or am I finding that our childhood memories of music and connecting and having fun, I'm not getting that from you? And if I'm not getting it from you, this is the tricky part in Emerald. I got to let that one go and move on to something else. So who among this group here has shown me that that is something that might connect? Who among the group that we have here would that be an opportunity for me to pursue? What you got? Yep. So I got Teffy there. I've got Rachel. There was Amy C, Mary D, Alejandro, Manda. Many folks were giving me what that gave. Now nobody talked, or just a couple people talked. What were people giving me that was my cue that that might work for them?
Musical phrases.
They were giving me movements, or they were giving me visual cues. So they offered me strong visual cues, because there were people who were nodding their heads. There were people who were waving their bodies. There were people who were moving their heads. There were people whose eyes went, oh yeah, facial expression. So one of the things about trying to assess someone in an emerald state is I will often start in a common area. And I'll be in a space where maybe I've got 3 different people, at least, that I could initiate some kind of social interaction with. And I may only have one person that I really want to get data on. And I'm really trying to figure out, how will I interact with this human being? What can I do that would create opportunities of engagement? But to do that, I start in common space. And I start off by just offering out to a small group this. So what I'm not doing is pointing my finger at any one individual, because we've picked a space. I pick a space classically that is open and is friendly and is either they could ask me to leave or I could leave without causing too much distress. It engages people, but it doesn't force engagement on people. And I start at sort of a neutral zone. And I usually approach somebody who makes eye contact with me. Now, guess who that almost always is? Somebody who's an extrovert and somebody who likes human beings and likes to connect and wants to chit chat. And what I make sure of is I don't get so close to them that it feels like an exclusive conversation. So I'll pull my chair back from the table and angle myself so I'm in a supportive stance with that person, but I keep my gaze going around the smaller sort of local group to let them know this is free range conversation. I have a question for you guys. Now, how many of you on here immediately were like, yeah, even though I hadn't talked to you individually at all, but you found yourself being drawn to what? What draws you to me?
You have a question.
Yeah, I did. I phrased it and I gave you the rhythm of a question. What else was it? What else did I do that got you hooked? Because you're hooked. I mean, a lot of you, oh, listen, I have a question for you guys.
Lean forward.
I leaned forward a little bit, but what I did is I put my arm in front of me. I rest my arm on the table. What is that indicating? Here's the boundary. I'm not going to step over the boundary. I'm not asking for anything other than an engagement, but I'm setting a boundary here. So if you're more of an introvert, I'm not going to get in your space at all. It's just a question. And if you don't want to ask, listen, I have a question for you guys. So I did use a tone of voice. So I make sure my tone of voice is sort of, ooh, listen, I have a question for you guys. Now, how did I start it off? Ooh, listen.
Excitement.
I did. I put some energy in my voice and I used the word, ooh, listen. And as soon as I do that, all of you guys go, yeah, I should listen. I don't know what she's going to say, but there's this element of listening. So what I'm actually checking out is hearing. And what I'm checking out is attention. And what I'm checking out is alertness. And what I'm checking out is engagement ability. And I'm looking to see whether everybody's eyes are sort of here, or some people are doing something else. And they haven't even paused in what they're doing to engage with me. Ooh, said, listen, I have a question for you guys. And I make it a you guys, or I have a question for you guys. And I actually covered my mouth, which says what?
It's my turn to talk because you're
My
waiting.
turn to talk. Yes, I am not going to say anything more until I get a response from somebody. And Teffy gave up and answered. Yeah, here's my question. I was looking at a map lately, and I haven't done it for a while, and I noticed that it was a map of the US. And I started looking at states, and it took me back. Oh my gosh, it took me back. And I remember the quiz on the states and the capitals. I remember having to take a quiz. I think it was like 5th grade or something. I don't remember. But what I remember is you had to get the capitals. So, and I know some of them are tricky. Some of them are really tricky, but some of them are, you know, not too much, like Massachusetts. And I know that was Boston. So it's Boston, Massachusetts. And then I know for Pennsylvania, it's not Pittsburgh. It's the other one. It starts with a P, but it's on the other side of the state. It's, something Pennsylvania. Oh, it's not. It doesn't even start with a P. Man, did I get that wrong, huh? Oh, it starts with an H, I think. Anybody know the capital of Pennsylvania? That's where I got stuck. I realized, oh my gosh, I don't have it. I don't remember it.
Is it Harrisburg or something else?
Harrisburg, yes. And see, let me show you. Let me hang on. I gotta find it. Yeah, here's the map I was looking at. Okay. See, I had it, but then I and so you're absolutely right. You had it. Harrisburg, boy, you got it. So what was the sequence? What did I do? Let's review, because I'm offering the opportunity to engage and I'm still assessing. I'm assessing. So what did I do during this event?
So I'm going to go back. First, you started with that fill in the blank or the rhythm piece to get engagement and notice who was looking up at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I did the rhythm thing, and I did a couple of sayings, and I was gaining ground there. I had some folks who were engaging with me. And then I did a couple of rhythm pieces with music, and that seemed to be working. And so I thought, okay, so now I'm interested in files over in the language center, and do people have access to the files? Now, remember how many back and forths before we either take off on a run or we get stuck in a rut. And so I could do up to 4 or 5, but then I got to be ready to switch gears, because what am I doing? Am I doing a program, or am I assessing the situation?
You're assessing.
I'm just assessing. So I don't want to get locked into a particular activity. I'm in assessment mode. I'm trying to scope out what are my potential and my possibilities, because my job frequently is to build a program for other people to offer. And if I have one activity that works, is that going to fill somebody's day and be all that I need to offer for somebody? Heck no. I mean, that's not going to be enough. And all I'm going to be able to do is, here's one activity you could try with so-and-so. Great. Thanks, Teepa. I mean, that was a lot of something for nothing, because what if that one doesn't work that day? Or what if that's not where they're light up? So what am I doing now? So what did I do? I switched from a lot of rhythm to.
Yeah, 5th grade. There was a thing in 5th grade. Something.
Yeah. And how did I start it? I started it with just.
You did I share, you share.
I did an I share, you share, and I did it with just words.
What, just words?
And what did I find out?
You didn't get anything.
I got a lot of flat faces. It's like you sort of went with Boston, Massachusetts. And then I unfortunately, in that moment, picked Pennsylvania. because my brain says, I know it's not Pittsburgh. Now, what did my brain not give me? A good state. So guess what we're all likely to make when we're trying to do this kind of work? Because I'm trying to do an assessment of a situation. I'm trying to figure out language abilities. What happens to our language abilities sometimes when we're really working hard to figure out where someone is capable and where they might not be as able at coming up with nouns? And those are the first vocabulary words that folks are going to struggle with. And what we want to try is a way to connect two of them together to see if it rings a bell. So let's see, what about, how about this one? St. Paul. What state is that? So you got St. Paul. Anybody got that one?
Ooh, Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah. Yeah, how about Madison?
Wisconsin.
Oh, good, Wisconsin. Oh, Santa Fe.
New Mexico.
Ah, cool. Juneau.
Alaska.
Alaska, good. Oh, I bet I can get you with this one. Cheyenne.
Wyoming.
Now, okay, so now realize, why was this more successful? And how many of you jumped on the bus?
Because you gave, it's a fill in the blank thing.
Ah, so I share, you share. I extended the I share, you share to I gave you the first word and I was looking to see, can you find the next file cabinet?
Mhm.
How tightly are those file cabinets connected? For me in 5th grade, they were really tightly connected because you had to memorize them. How many of you in your grade school had to memorize state and capital? If you're from Canada, it was province and capitals, I feel certain. I don't think they let you slide up there in Canada or for other countries. I'm pretty sure everybody's supposed to know where they're from. So I bet I could keep going. And you guys are sort of intrigued. What would that become though? The engagement. What do I now know? Because now I know a whole lot about what might engage some of you. And I heard from some different people this time. I didn't hear from the same people because I've got some verbal linguistic here. I've got some folks who, when I went to the verbal linguistic rhythm, they started to connect some dots. And this is where, now I've got an idea. Okay, so da 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 da.
Texas.
Texas. All right. Yeah. Ooh. Da 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 da. From the Music Man.
Gary, Indiana.
All right. Nice. Okay. How about this one? Let me think. Okay. This is, now I'm going to give you a city, but this is going to be, you have to try to give me the state. Da my heart in
San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco. Anybody have a state?
California.
California. Excellent. You've got it. Oh my gosh. Excellent. MISSISSIPPI.
Mississippi.
Mississippi. All right. Now what am I finding out? Now this is a different part of the brain. Put your hand to your prefrontal cortex. I am checking out problem solving skills. I'm checking out, we streamed from here to here. How many of you transitioned with me? How many of you made the shift over from naming capitals and states to music again, and then to rhythm, and then to words again? How many of you stayed with me? And when I did MISSISSIPPI, which was
Mississippi.
spelling, yes, it was Mississippi. You guys were able to puzzle solve, problem solve. You went from me spelling a word to you identifying what that state was. And we had Mary D, who recognized the song from a musical and was able to go, but she had to say Gary, Indiana. She didn't just say Indiana, she said Gary, Indiana, which is the song rhythm. And so now what do I have an idea about as a possibility? Do I now have some other activities?
I was gonna say, I think whatever that song is from, Mary must know it. Whatever play or whatever it is.
Yeah, so she knows maybe songs from, what did she show me she might know?
Songs from musicals.
Songs from musicals. And so now all of a sudden I've got a genre that Mary might be with, and I may see if there's anybody else that will do this. And so now I can flip and say, ooh, now speaking of musicals. Now, if you do that with a diamond go, we weren't talking about musicals, but for an emerald, here's the cool part about emeralds. You could go from file cabinet to file cabinet, and the associations can be really, really loose if they like being with you. So, oh yeah, a musical, Music Man, a musical. Ooh, I know another one. Da 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 da.
Oklahoma.
Now, do I want to do that if I want to go to a new genre, or I want to check out something different?
Probably
Because
not.
why not? You're absolutely right.
That was still a state one, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that looped me back to the States. I've already established who's sort of interested, who might be, and who might be able, who might not. And if I go back to it, I'm turning it into an activity, not an assessment. And so that's where my brain has to be thoughtful. Am I still in assessment mode? And am I still trying to figure out? And what I'm also doing is seeing how many times you can flip-flop with me and travel with me. And when will you put your foot down and say, that's enough, go away? So how many different things have we done so far? Somewhere around 5. So what am I betting on?
You're about done.
We're about done. And I will say, you know what I want to do? I want to thank you guys. You have been so super helpful. I cannot tell you. I mean, it was so great to spend some time. I really appreciate it. Manda, thank you so much. Oh, hey, Sharon, wow, thank you. That was like, you have it down, man. You were just like super. Alejandro, wow, thanks, man. So what am I doing at the end of this activity? Assessment activity. What am I now figuring out?
Connecting with each person.
Will the person give me a full out handshake, eye contact, connection? Did I personalize it? How am I leaving them at the end of this very brief assessment interaction? What am I leaving in their file?
Feeling us, making people feel good and special.
No, what am I? You're right, Mary, but what am I leaving in their file cabinet?
Okay. A happy visual.
I'm leaving a picture of me, and is that picture sort of in a positive, supportive place? And am I giving them affirmation that what they did have value to me?
Yes.
Am I thanking them for helping me?
Yes.
I am presetting our next interaction. And I am looking at their reaction. Well, it was fine. Yeah, no problem, lady. And if they keep the newspaper in their hands, what does that tell me about my next interaction? I've got to dial it back, scale it down, reduce the energy level. I'm going to need to give them more space, more time, and they are not going to be a quick responder. Here's the tricky part about most people living with dementia. Do this with your hands. See if you can get your thumbs to do this and do this. When you give them a snapshot of you, and it's a relatively close-up snapshot, because what kind of vision do most people have in Emerald State? They're pitting the binoculars, and I came in, I was really friendly, and we are giving a nice touch cue. It's a very friendly, I'm in hand under hand, I'm to the side, and I am saying, thank you. You are really good at this. I really appreciated all the help. You did the states, you were, wow. You got some good stuff going on. I created a file cabinet with a smiling, friendly, thankful, appreciative face in it. So the next time their brain finds me, it will go to facial recognition software to see if it can match up with me. So did I set them in this direction or this direction? Yeah. So I could come in next time and go, knock, knock. Hey there. Hey, it's Teepa. Listen,
Teepa.
I have a huge favor to ask of you. I could use your help for just a few minutes.
Okay.
Come on, I want to show you what I need. So now notice again who was first off the mark. Now, what am I going to do this time? Am I going to do a group activity this time? No, because now I need to figure out how does somebody respond and interact and engage with me on a one-on-one. And the reason I want to do the group first and the social first is next it's going to get a little more intimate. And I don't want to move into intimacy too quickly, because guess how many times people might have had somebody shove into their intimate space without permission, without them being comfortable with it before I got there, especially knowing who I am. How many folks have already had so many uncomfortable experiences by the time somebody calls on me? I mean, I am the kind of person that nobody calls Teepa unless they've tried something a lot, and that's when they'll want me to come do something. So I'm often trying to do an assessment where somebody has been through a number of situations where things did not go well. So what do I know about someone in an emerald state, classically, as far as their ability to hold a day together and complete everything they need to complete to live effectively and well, compared to how they were doing even in the diamond state? What do I know is classically starting to not be so easy for them?
Well, if you're talking about those back and forths being 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we loop again, thinking through the rest of the day and sequencing the rest of the day, it's probably a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4 go okay, and then the loop starts, or I go into a completely different loop altogether.
Yeah. And so what we know about someone in an emerald state, absolutely, Amanda, is that they're much more driven by what they see or what is not visible that they might be looking for, what they hear or what they might not be hearing that they're looking for, and what they could do or what's not possible to do in the setting that they're in. So what they're looking for setting wise in order to do something. And what they have a lot of trouble with is putting together how you go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And so depending on how deep in the emerald state someone is, the flaw becomes bigger and broader and wider about where, when, and who, and how we do things. And so what I now am trying to really investigate is how significant is this flaw? How much structure in a day? How much assist with these transitions and these interjections am I going to need to be, or is someone going to need to be, to make sure the flow of the day has enough rhythm to it that's comfortable so that we don't have these peaks and troughs or this cycling around and around and around and around and not knowing how to get out of it, or getting stuck in a spot and having things to see or watch and listen to and not going anywhere, or roaming, or taking things apart in the room over and over and emptying putting things in suitcases, packing, taking everything out of the cabinets, changing clothes, but not always taking off clothes to put on the new clothes. And so ending up in multiple layers. Going in the bathroom and not using necessarily all the things that you want them to in the right time, or repeating something repeatedly and then skipping other things. So the idea that I really now am trying to, in a one-on-one, start to explore what is somebody's capacity with the right support? Because then what I can start to think of is, okay, so what kind of training and skill building am I going to need to have with the people in the person's world? I have to figure out what are they capable of. So when I'm looking at helping people be more effective, I know where I'm headed. Now, how many times a day would it be ideal for me to see someone? In a 24-hour period, how many different points of contact am I going to want to have? Best case scenario, multiple. And I want to do it early in the morning, mid-morning, around, but right before lunch, at lunch, and after lunch. And then I want to get an early afternoon read, and then an early evening read, and then a dinner time read, and then an evening read, and then a nighttime. Because this is where what we can see is, although the person is emerald for a majority of the morning into the early afternoon, now in the evening, they might be amber or even ruby-like. And I need to have a high alert that, okay, guys, this is emerald only in the morning. We have to totally switch gears. Emerald state is only in the morning, somewhere around 3 o'clock, 2 to 3, we go amber. And then by later in the evening, this is very ruby state kinds of things. And acknowledging this is not static through this day. And is it because we burn all the fuel in the emerald state and people run out of juice? Or is it because emerald state is so much fun, they use so much, but they have such a great time? That's just they've always been like this. This is relatively different. So now I'm going back to life story to help me figure out, is this a pattern of a lifetime? Or is this something that has come and come to be since the start of their dementia? Or since they're moving to this community? Or since now this caregiving situation is this caring situation? Or since the pandemic, which is a whole different thing. So I'm going to start off classically, I'll come by fairly early in the morning. Now, I have the luxury, because I'm an OT, I have the luxury of being able to stick my nose in just about everything. I mean, and that's a huge plus, because I can do self-care, personal care things. I can do brain fitness. I can do body fitness. I can do some things that are considered intimate care activities. Personal care activities. I can also be involved in environmental modification stuff, and I can do those kind of things within my license. And so this is a tricky thing if you're an engagement leader and there are rules of operation that you have to work around. But for me, I have the luxury of, when I get permission, I can basically get into almost any situation. And that really expands my view of this human being and allows me to create a program that truly tries to balance out and supports everyone who's involved in it. Because often it's the transition from a self-care activity to something that's supposed to be sort of purposeful and meaningful. But what happens is the self-care activity was so uncomfortable, or they got caught in it, or they skipped it, that now this meaningful activity doesn't seem quite right. So let's pause for a second. And I'm really curious. I'm going to have you guys go to 2 breakout rooms with Manda and Alejandro, and we're just going to break up because not everybody's able to talk. I know some of you are muted for a variety of reasons, but what I'm going to have you do, those of you who can talk, I want you to go and process through what I've gone over so far, what kind of things I've provided you with, and how I do what I do, because I want to stop before we get to the individual work and just talk about what I can do in a group setting, in a public setting, in a common space. That might be helpful. And it might highlight more than one person. Guess what I'm also looking for? Ooh, and I didn't even say this. Not only how they interact with me, but what? Who else they hang with, what they do when somebody else answers a question, how much they might feed off of someone else, how connected they are to someone else, who sits next to who does what, because that can also give me information about, ooh, as I'm thinking forward and putting together small groups, are there places of rubbing the wrong way? And are there places where there's a really nice connect? And that might be a seeding pattern I want to reinforce. Is there takeover? And the one person says, shh, she wasn't talking to you, I was talking. Is there's that kind of thing going on that I can notice in the group that might inform my recommendations or thoughts about how to engage with somebody? So I'm going to have you go out for just about 5 minutes and talk about, from what I've done to date, which is this idea of how do I do what I do? And what might you take away from that? Have Alejandro and Manda work with you guys to lay out, from what I've shared, what's your game plan? What of all the stuff that we talked about, what, why, and then the how it might connect to who you and what you do, and what are you going to apply from this? What is it that your takeaway is from this process that I shared with you? Because it really is how I go about doing things. See what you come away with, and then we'll come back. So 5 minutes, and then we'll be back.
So who has some insight into what you've noticed when trying to assess emeralds? What were some of the things that Teepa said that resonated with anybody in this group?
One of the things that resonated with me was to start off with engaging a whole group rather than just trying to engage an individual.
So rather than starting in that personal, private space of their room, or even finding them sitting alone in the communal space, the group space, instead maybe starting on the familiar but public setting and with multiple people engaged to do a skilled assessment. All right, anything else that people resonated with when assessing emeralds?
I appreciated her approach. Her approach was very upbeat and positive, and also she was asking them to help her.
Oh yeah, so if I want to go in and actually do an assessment, starting like this, Sharon, I'm Amanda. I'm here to do an assessment today on your cognitive functional skills, okay? Is a real different approach than, oh, hey Sharon, Amanda, I got a question for you. It's a really different way of doing it, but why do we think we have to do it that other way? Yeah, cool, great noticing. Anybody else, any other pieces that you noticed?
I think her emphasis also about creating that positive file cabinet memory also really sticks out. Yeah, stuck out for me.
Yeah, that leave them with a smile really does resonate, because how many of you have been the next person in after a bad scenario, a bad interaction, a bad situation? And what happens? What immediately happens?
Go away.
Go away. Get out of here. Who the hell do you think you are? So trying your best to imprint this, I'm here, I'm friendly, I like you, you like me, remember? It'll be great. It never hurts, right? And it's something we often forget, that last step of an interaction, to say, thank you. Thanks for spending time with me, Amanda, who you might see again in short order, like in 5 minutes when I come back to do something else that I didn't want to do here in the group. Yeah, cool. Tina, what you got?
Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I just came into the group. I was trying to help my participants get some activities going. I apologize.
That's okay. So Tina, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
It's really good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Yeah. Next time I call on Tina, I'll make sure to do a quick assessment before I just think that she's going to say something.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. Okay, so we are going to close the breakout rooms. Don't click the blue button. I am going to close them, and we will have, I think, 60 more seconds. Yes. Okay, don't click that blue button. You'll leave. Okay, you're all still here. Oh, somebody left. Anybody have any other noticings about assessing when there's an emerald? Potentially language as well. That was something else that she was doing an assessment on.
I like the transition from the rhythm with the music to the left temporal vocabulary with naming the capitals.
Yeah, often we think of music as playing music that does something to you emotionally. What was different about this use of music?
To take you back in time.
It took them back in time a little bit. What else did it have people do though?
There is still recall. We're asking them to, listen to the music and come up with the correct answer.
Yeah, so there was a missing word.
Did folks have some things that they shared out?
Yeah, they did. They had some pretty good stuff out there.
Cool. All right. Well, it has been approximately 55 minutes since we started. So I'm going to try to transition us into self-care. But it's actually your self-care, not we're going to talk about self-care. We'll do that in a few minutes. But what I want you to go do is for 5 minutes, I want you to go either put something in, put something out, move around a little bit, do something that's a little self-oriented, because I don't want you to get so sucked into this that you forget to take care of yourself. And probably one of the greatest risks when we're working with emeralds is that because they have difficulty with transitions and we're so involved in trying to get them where they're supposed to be and get done what we're trying to and make sure they have these days, we forget to look in the mirror and realize that we have got to figure out how we're going to take breaks. We got to schedule it in, but it's also helpful because it may remind us, you know what, tell you what, let's go down this way. I'm going to stop in the restroom. If you would do that too now, then we could get it out of the way. Or, let's go wash our hands. Because what we want to do next, we have to have clean hands for. So, come on with me and let's head on down. Tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and take a break. I'm going to go to the ladies. If you want to go ahead and go too. Now, I don't actually know what you're doing then, but I'm offering the opportunity because now we're in assessment mode. I want to know what happens if I turn you guys loose. Will you go pee? Will you go empty your bladders out? Will you go get something else to drink? Or will you sit right here the whole time? And then in about 45 minutes or 30, the next time, now you're going to be like, man, I wish I'd gone when she offered, because now I'm really thirsty. I wish I'm so hungry. I wish I'd gotten something when I had that break. Which means, yeah, we may need to structure a little more here so that you take advantage of the opportunities, even though you didn't feel the need, you were aware of the opportunity. And this is where with Emerald, the difference between opportunity and need get a little fuzzy here. And we don't want to get to a need state because they get hangry. They get sandry. They get all these things and it's like, yikes, we need a break here. So we're going to take one before you get to that place, I hope. We're going to take 5 minutes, and we will come back in 5 minutes. So I'm going to eliminate myself so you don't have anything to look at least. You could go find something else to engage with. Actually, you were actually able to go do something and then end up back here where we started. One of the things that I'll frequently notice about someone in an emerald state is they may go do something, but when I set the timer for 5 minutes, guess who's not back? And if I go looking for them, they're possibly engaged in something that they saw along the way that was something to do. They might have heard something and got engaged auditorily, or they might have physically found something that was physically positive for them or engaging for them. And so they didn't come back to this other location because it's this transition time that often is when we will waste a lot of energy having to go look for people because we evidently didn't assess their need for support during transitions, during spatial transitions, or during temporal transitions, or during type of activity transitions. And so one of the times that we often see distress mount is during staff transitions, which are actually people transitions, which means some people are leaving and some people are staying. And that changing of something often is an old memory of switching places and switching roles and switching responsibilities at some point in a day. In a 24-hour period, it is very common for us human beings to take on certain jobs and responsibilities and then switch up. We aren't in the same situation 24 hours a day. And so we go from this, home responsibilities, self-care, we get in the car or we do something, we go to work, we do work, and then we leave work and we may transition and do some things on the way home. And then we have a home thing again we do, or we have a brief home thing and then we go into the community or we go into another responsibility. And then there's a period of time when we transition into taking care of our own sleep cycle. And that's a pattern that we establish, and it's called our circadian rhythm. And so one of the things I want to scope out with people in Emerald State is how much are they keeping their circadian rhythm and how much are they losing it, or how much do they need support for it, because it's just, and there are lots of reasons. And one of them is that their dementia is changing. Their dementia is changing the hippocampal region and the amygdala area so that these transitions are not as smooth and simple as they were. And so I want to start to get an idea of that. So I'm going to go back, and I also want to check out some fine motor stuff. So I said we were going to talk about moving into one-on-one, but before we go there, I want you to take a look at a video clip. And this video clip was actually designed as more of an assessment of abilities, because I'd watched these ladies doing some other things. And I want you to watch these ladies and see how many of them seem emerald-like in their abilities and how many might seem not so emerald-like. So I'm going to show you the engagement activity, and I want you to sort of watch it for all the things that you might be curious about, because this is what I was doing. I was doing an assessment activity with them. So I'm going to share, and share. And this is the free video we have online. It's a part of our Meaningful Activities video clip, but I want you to watch it as an assessment process.
Ladies, here's the deal. I made a picture and I cut them up, but now I'm not sure if I have all the pieces. So I'm wondering if you could put this puzzle together for me and see if I've got everything. And I've got several. And I need a little help. Now, what you see me doing here is giving them a reason to do what I'm asking them to do. And see if I've lost a piece or more. I've done something. I might have made a mistake. Can you help me?
So I'll pause. So what was part of my assessment process here? Does anybody have any thoughts of what I did or didn't do that is traditional, not traditional, when people are going to be asked to engage in a tabletop activity?
You put the pieces out in front of them.
I actually got everybody to the table without having anything on the table, except there's a cup of coffee there, which you might have noticed, which was one person's cup of coffee, and I moved it off to the side so that there was nothing in front of them. And I had the supplies up on a sidebar so that they wouldn't start doing things with the supplies until I introduced the activity. And then what did I do? And what did you notice about this first lady, by the way? Anybody notice anything about her eyes and how close I was to her?
Can you go back and show us?
I
again?
sure can. Oops, let's see, let's get right there.
The deal. I made a picture and I cut them up, but now I'm not sure if I have all the pieces.
So our first lady was one. So what do you notice about Martha? Is Martha excited about me being that close to her?
She doesn't look like she's inviting you into her intimate space. No.
No. So what do you know about my body?
Looks like you're a bit leaned in.
I'm standing, I'm leaned in, and I'm on which side of Martha?
Looks like you're on her left.
I'm on her left side. Now, who seemed really interested in what I was doing instead?
The first lady.
Our first lady, Evelyn. Evelyn was actually pretty engaged.
set them up, but now I'm not sure if I have all the pieces. So I'm wondering if you could put this puzzle together for me and see if I've got everything.
Ooh, how do you know she really didn't like it?
He's actually leaning away from you.
She's actually leaning away from me. And she has her chair on her arm and she hasn't touched anything. She's looking at it, the pile of stuff I left in front of her, but she hasn't started contact yet. Now, when I go away from her,
And I've got several, and I need a little help. Now, what you see me doing
now,
here.
what did you notice about Evelyn, on the other hand?
Yeah, she was tracking you the whole time, ready for you to come over, whatever it was you left with her, bring it to me.
Where's mine? Okay, I'm looking for mine. And you'll see that our friend over here, you know, our first Martha is still sort of like, put together a puzzle. Okay, yeah.
Here is giving them a reason to do what I'm asking them to do.
And see if I've lost a piece or more.
I've done something. I might have made a mistake. Can you help me?
We're going to spread them out.
Because I wanted to do them later, but I've got to make sure I've got everything I'm supposed to have. Yeah.
Now, what do you notice about speed here?
Speaking kind of vaguely.
What do you notice about my friend Evelyn over here versus my friend Martha with her finger dexterity, her hands, and how she's processing this? What is Martha doing?
Martha was
One at a time.
Martha is picking up one piece at a time, moving it off, looking at it and laying it down. What is Evelyn doing?
Spreading it out.
Spreading it all out with fingertips. So she's using her fingertips and spreading things out.
And what I did here is I took some pictures, I blew them up, I printed them out on cardstock.
So all of them should be.
And cut them up.
Now, what do you notice, however, about my friend Martha?
Seems like she's actually putting it together, I think.
Oh, so she's already starting to put the puzzle pieces together. And what has happened with Evelyn?
Still observing.
She's still sort of spreading them all out and looking at stuff. Now, what am I looking like I'm doing?
Your own puzzle.
My own puzzle. So am I hovering or messing with anybody?
No, ma'am.
Everybody's got some space and some time. Now, what about my friend over on the other side of the table? What is she doing? What is she doing right now?
She initially reached out to grab the pieces when you set them on the table, but it doesn't look like they've really moved that much. And now she's fidgeting with her clothes.
Yeah, so she's got a napkin on her lap that she brought from the last activity. That she's actually the coffee cup lady. And so what is she doing? She's sort of,
like observing.
Yeah, she's observing. So who's she actually watching?
Martha?
She's watching Martha. Yeah, so she's more watching what's going on.
I don't know. Now, what's nice about this is if I lose a piece, guess what?
I have all the pieces, or if I drop,
It's not a big deal.
couple, they're up there.
What did I use pictures of for this group? Flowers.
See what you can do.
Bright colors, clear shapes. Let's see how they do with this.
Did you? Are you I love jigsaws. Now,
There it is.
now, my friend in the blue jacket says, I love jigsaw puzzles. And what has she done with the jigsaw puzzles?
Nothing.
She's looking at them. She's busy looking at them and loving them. And she really has not actively physically engaged with the puzzle at all, but her hands are busy with something.
Look at you. You're great. Look at that. You're good at that. There we go. Look at the hand-eye activity here. Look at how they're trying to figure out how things go together.
You've got too many. Let's see here, Martha. Let me try something. Take that piece and try it right there.
Now, one of my friends needs a little more help here. It's too many pieces. She can't get started.
Now, now on the other hand, take a look at Evelyn. What do you notice Evelyn is doing over there by herself?
She's finally putting it together.
I won't put it together.
Evelyn's figuring it out.
Evelyn's got it. I mean, she's actually figuring the whole thing out. So although at the beginning she looked like she might be disorganized and she might not do anything, she actually is very busy. Is she engaging over here with her friend right now? Is she noticing anybody else's puzzle right now?
She's focused.
She is really able to eliminate background stuff and focus in on this task. Is Martha trying to do the same thing?
She's trying.
She's trying, but she's actually maybe a little more challenged with this ability.
Right.
Turn that one. There she goes. Look. Keep turning it. Try it right over here. See if you can get it to go right there. Flip it around. Now notice how I tapped on the table and gave her the cue, but I'm not taking the piece from her. She's doing it.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, well now we got to, okay, now I think maybe that's in the middle on the bottom. Try and see if it fits like right here or not. So I'm giving her a little hint. Just straight up. Mm-hmm. And see if you can get her to line up. Shift it maybe just. Does that feel right? Does that look right? Mm-hmm. Perfect. And here I think, try to see if that last piece fits it. Oh, Oh, look at you. That's it. See it? I had it upside down. Good for you. She's smarter than I am. And look at the lady next to her.
So what have we got now?
Okay.
Both of them are successful. They both put their puzzles together, and now I pull out some more pieces.
She's already got that one together. You had all your pieces. Evelyn, that's great. Look at you. You're good. You must have done crosswords or jigsaws before too.
Yeah.
Wow. And look at you. Let's see if we can get yours to come together. Okay. Let's see here. See if maybe that one will fit right over. Try it right there. Will it slide? Maybe turn it this way. Let's turn it maybe like this and try it. Now notice this one has diagonals. It's a little more challenging. Now, let's see if we can get this one. See if that little point fits right in there. That's perfect. Oh, yes. I think so. What do you think? Yep. Nice. See if that one goes down there, right here. Now notice how I'm handing one piece at a time? Yep, I think you're right. Now we got two at the top. Let's see if you can get those two in line.
What'd you just hear her say?
Two at the top.
She repeated what I said. So what had to happen for my friend here to be able to do this activity? What did I have to modify? Because this is called, I'm assessing and I'm finding out, can they be in a group together? Can they engage together? But what does each individual, what are they going to need in order to be successful? So what I found out is my friend, and I can't remember her name, it's been about 8 years ago. I can't remember her name without the name tag. I need a visual cue of the name tag. What I found out is she needs step-by-step guidance. What did Martha need?
She needed to get started.
She had 6 pieces and it was too many pieces for her to do 6. But once I got it to a certain place, what could she do then when it was just a couple or 3 pieces?
Put them together.
She could finish it, but she couldn't quite get it all started on her own. She needed a little support to get going. What about Evelyn?
It was good.
All she needed was the activity and the prompt and getting going, and then she could do all of it. The trick is that Evelyn loves to hang out with Martha. And Martha won't go anywhere. Evelyn won't go anywhere without Martha. And Martha doesn't like to go very many places.
Aww.
So now immediately what starts coming to mind as what might be barriers to engaging Evelyn to her full potential? What's going to be a barrier?
Martha.
Martha. And as much as Martha's a support, because Martha, what did you notice about Martha that is going to have to be more thoughtful, more careful? I'm going to have to be a lot carefuler, or Martha's going to not want to be active with me, because I learned some things. I learned some really important things in this group by how I set people up and what happened, because I really wanted to see what would happen with Martha. because they said, you can't get Evelyn to, I mean, Evelyn can do a lot more stuff, but we can't get her to do anything because Martha never will want to go anywhere. And if Martha won't go, Evelyn won't go. Because I told you, I don't get called in unless people get stuck. And why did I have my third person there?
Maybe to go back to that public place, that public space where it's not so personal.
I absolutely was making it a group, because if they're just a two, then I'm not getting an assessment of how they are in a group. So I needed a third. Guess who they gave me?
Someone else who has a hard time engaging in the.
She interrupts everything. When you try to get her in a group, she says stuff and it's like she doesn't do anything. She just comes, and then you can't get her to do anything. And then she interrupts and she starts taking things. I mean, she'll take things from other people, and that really irritates, especially Martha. Martha cannot stand this woman. Now, did you actually see evidence that Martha can't stand this woman? What do you think might be the dynamic between the two of them? What does my friend who watches stuff, what does she notice when Martha sits across the table from her?
She notices her things.
Not only her things, what else does she notice? Martha has a hard time getting started. And so my friend who likes jigsaws and likes to be helpful does what? I mean, she's not doing it to really cause trouble. What does she try to do?
Take her pieces.
Take her pieces to be
She's helping her out. Yeah.
She's trying to help. But unfortunately, her way of helping is to take the pieces to herself, which of course does what with Martha, who is very territorial.
Makes her mad.
It ticks her off. She's taken my stuff, but she doesn't ask. She just tries to grab it back. Or I'm done, I'm out of here. So what I wanted to do, those were the three they asked me to see, and it wasn't about Evelyn, except it was. So who was I actually assessing for Emerald status?
Martha?
All three of them.
All three of them. Because guess what they have? They have other gem states in this community, in this program. And so what I've got to figure out, if I want to program together, is it possible to program together with the right support? Can they be at the same tabletop? Or can they not be at the same tabletop? Could they do things that are similar and with different support, but in the same grouping? Could it work? So let's watch the last piece with my friend, and let's see how this plays out. Let's see whether I'm able to keep the group to this last little piece. And I will point out that it's only been like a few minutes here.
With a little bit of organizational help
Right here.
and a little bit of structure, look at how well she's doing.
That white edge. See if
And
that
look at
white
how
edge
she's
fits
using her
right there.
brain, her eyes, her hands,
Maybe this, like
her
that. Slide it
thinking.
right down. One that goes right here. It's sort of tricky. Why don't you put them all out? That might work easier.
Now I'm trying to do two things at one time. Let's see how this
You know what I
goes.
Now, I had set a bunch of pieces over on the end. Who took the pieces up?
Martha.
Martha. Martha, the one who won't do anything, is the one who picked up all the pieces I set on the end, and where I said, I have some extra pieces because I'm missing a piece. Now what happens?
The other woman's distracted by the new pieces that are being set down.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about your word distracted, and I'm going to back up a little bit and watch what really happens.
And it goes right here. It's sort of tricky. Why don't you put them all out? That might work easier.
Now I'm trying to do two things at one time. Let's see how this
You know what I
goes.
think? That's it.
Oh, look, they found my missing piece for me.
Boy, you got a good eye.
So what happened with my lady? Teepa, you were saying distracted. What actually happened?
She was actually being helpful. She found your piece.
Her brain went, I think that's the piece that's missing. And that's exactly what Martha figured out too. Oh, that's the piece that you need. So both of them had this visual memory thing of this idea. And what we actually saw is Martha initiating, which is what she had trouble doing. Wonder why that was better.
I think you gave, I don't remember this lady's name in the blue jacket, but you put your hand out about the space where she was actually looking, and you pointed and you said, that's the one, something I was looking for. So she was actually moving her eyes to where you were directing traffic.
Yeah, and she did that. And as soon as she was helpful to me, now what is she doing?
Going back to her puzzle.
She's back to her puzzle. And what do you notice Evelyn's doing now? Hanging out.
Let's see. You got it on the first try. Thank you.
Oh, is Evelyn hanging out? Or is she micro shifting to get everything to line up exactly like it's supposed to? So what did you notice helped everybody feel more comfortable? Where am I in relationship to Martha?
Way far away.
I'm over to her right. I'm way far away. Who's between she and I? She and me. Evelyn. So she's got her friend Evelyn in there, and I'm not messing with anybody's stuff. I've got my own stuff now. And Martha. Oh,
and you ladies, tell you what, give yourselves a hand. This is, you all got it all in one. Boy, you guys are good.
I used to do puzzles.
Did you? I can tell. Y'all must have been real good at this when you were younger.
We didn't have nothing else. We didn't have no crayons or anything.
Any of that stuff. You just had puzzles.
Yeah, we had puzzles.
Well, boy, I'll tell you, it stayed with you.
So I'm going to pause. So what do we know about each of these ladies that when I move into intimate care, I want to prepare myself for? So what I'm going to have you do is think through, what kind of data do I have about Martha, about Evelyn, and then let's call her Jane, because I truly do not remember what her name was, and I apologize. I might could shoot through all the video and find it, but it's really not essential right now. That we'll just give her a name. And I'm going to ask you guys to go to the 2 breakout rooms for just a few seconds to see what you figure out, because I'm really looking at, okay, now my goal is to do toileting. My goal is to do mouth care. My goal is to, now, do I want to do it or do I want to engage them in doing it? Because we use words like get them to do something. And what do I want to do, Sky?
You want to engage them.
I want them to engage in this activity, and I want to know how much support I need leading into it, how much support I'm going to need leading through it, and how much support I'm going to need leading out of it. How can I set somebody up who wants to be helpful in the right ways, to not interfere, but be there at the right moment to catch the transition and keep things moving forward, and then transition to the next thing. So notice what each of those would be unique. What would be the personal care kind of detail and individual detail that I picked up on? And I'm going to see if you guys picked up on it. I'll tell you about it when you come back. Let's just take 5 minutes and see how many individual plans you would be thinking about. Martha, Evelyn, and Jane. And by the way, even though I said individual, realize I may work in a pair for certain things, if that's what actually makes sense. And I'm going to go do this now. I'm going to blow your minds up, because we never think of personal intimate care done as a duo. But in fact, for many individuals, they were married their whole lives. They share bathrooms, they share sinks, they share space, they share activities. And we totally forget about that. And so we're asking them to do something in front of us that doesn't make any sense. So we're going to put that out there as you go out and talk.
All right. So what did you pick up on? Where do you guys want to start? Martha, Evelyn, Jane, as individuals, what are some things of note when it comes to shifting into intimate care that you sort of would have marked down after that experience?
Well, Martha seems as if she needed some reassurance that it was okay to start.
And what kind of reassurance would she want? Does she want you to pat her on the back and say, it's okay, honey, go ahead and get started? Or is that going to get that side eye that she was given Teepa at the beginning?
I think she needed the trust.
She has to let you into her space.
Mhm.
You're absolutely right. So when I approach to do anything physical, I have to get her permission to touch her body. 100%. Great noticing. Any other noticings about those other two or more about Martha?
I think visual. That they're clearly either, are they got a scuba dive or are they binoculars, try to see where they are.
So noticing what they're noticing. What did you notice about their visual ability? Were they mostly here? Go ahead and do this with your hands so that you can see what they would be able to see. Were they seeing the whole table? Were they able to see the person across and the table? Or close them down. Was it closer here, more emerald, where they were able to see the task or the person, but not both at the same time?
Well, I think it was more closing down.
Seemed a little more closed down.
Right.
Yeah, seemed a little bit more binocular than tunnel.
Mhm.
Yeah, so when we offer cues or when we try to get into visual range or when I offer a toothbrush, if I offer the toothbrush here, what is the problem?
Not going to see it.
You can't even see it. And I'm thinking you're refusing, and what's actually happening?
Doesn't know where it is.
Know what you're asking.
Ah, so cool. Picking up on what they saw, not what we saw, what they were seeing and what their visual field might be. Great. Any other noticings?
So with that, oh, go ahead, Sky.
Just that Jane was really wanting that social chit chat, whereas Martha was, not essential information wasn't.
How many of you like to go into the bathroom and have a conversation over the stall with your friend while you go to the bathroom? Some of you, yeah. How many of you think, oh, what? Ugh. Why would you do that? But some of you sitting on this call are thinking, yeah, that seems fine to me. I mean, I've had that, especially if you've got little ones, having someone else in the bathroom and having a full-blown conversation. If you've got dogs or cats that come in and you may talk to them while you're going to the bathroom, and yet in a care situation, what would we automatically do? Yeah, we'd block that out. And yet, what did Jane tell us might help her get started? Yeah, some of that social chit chat stuff. Is that going to help Martha? Maybe not. Okay, cool. Great noticing. Any other noticing? Steffi, you were going to share something.
Yeah, so with the history between Martha and Evelyn always going together, I might need to bring Martha and Evelyn both to the restroom to either go to the restroom or do oral care.
Yeah, so rather than trying to do this one-on-one, intense, personal, intimate interaction, pull it back out. Start with whom?
Evelyn.
Evelyn. Start with Evelyn. She's saying, yeah, sure, whatever you show me, I'll try it. Then Martha gets to watch to get the cue to get started. Yeah, cool. I think we're going to get pulled back in just a second here.
Oh, you're muted, Teepa. Sorry.
Yeah, I noticed. Thank you, Alejandro. So I'm curious, Alejandro, what were a couple things that your group identified that they were walking away from that with?
Well, I think we got cut off on the last thing, but I was pretty sure we were going with what do we want to put out versus in an intimate care kind of thing, task, versus what do we want to maybe keep for a little bit longer. And there was lots of mentions of visuals, cues for different folks in the group as well.
Okay, so that visual cueing and how we do visual cueing may vary per person, but visual cues combined with energy and maybe some variation in energy level is going to be really important for getting people's interest peaked enough that they might be willing to transition with you. Because whatever I do, if I want to get a transition, I've got to get them from the table now to something else. Yeah. Anything else that your group came up with before I switch over to Amanda's? Were those the key things, or?
I think it was Mary mentioned, and a few folks looked like they nodded as well. Martha seemed to be more of an introvert, I think is what the group picked up on.
Yeah, Martha's much more hesitant. Keep your hands off. This is my space. This is my friend. And what's really important, I think, in the introvert thing is that she has a deep relationship with Evelyn. Now, it basically only started 4 weeks ago when she entered the program. However, how long do you think Martha thinks the relationship has been for? Forever. They are like sisters. They are like buds. They are like the closest thing since peanut butter and jelly. So, you know, for Martha, Martha is really finding this intimate friend that she needs to feel comfortable in public spaces and in doing things and in trying things, because who will get started on something and Martha can watch and sort of check out what you do and then maybe figure it out? Why does she like Evelyn so much?
That was one of the pieces that our room ended with, is if you're going to approach Martha as a one-on-one to support, you're going to have to get a lot of permission, but Evelyn not as much. So if you could bring Evelyn in, and Evelyn is who you start with, and Martha gets to watch, she might actually be able to do most of it on her own.
Yeah, so Martha's great. So yeah, Martha's a slow start. So I'm actually thinking of partner work, not one-on-one work with Martha, because as soon as I start trying a one-on-one, she's going to give me pushback. She's not going to want me. She's going to really start seeing me in a negative light. She's going to see me as somebody who might be trying to break up a relationship or interfere. And often I'm not making her comfortable. When I gave that space and I got over on the other side and I had Evelyn between she and I, her comfort level was way better because she could watch both of us. And she had her partner between she and I, and all of a sudden she could be super helpful and she could be engaged. And it gave Evelyn that space that she needs too, because Evelyn, although she does things, once she does them, she doesn't know what to do next. Did Evelyn do any of the things that my other two folks did to start something else?
No, and that was something else that our group mentioned, was this social chit chat is a good starter for Jane.
Yeah.
To get her transitioned. For Evelyn and Martha, it might actually be distracting unless they're doing it with each other and just having this social chit chat space.
Yeah, and it's interesting when they're together, they say they hardly ever talk. Now, how many times a day do you think I'm going to be able to put Jane in with Martha?
No.
Some, but I'm going to have to keep it really short. I mean, they're a great combo if we've got something that each of them can do, but Martha is not. If we keep introducing Jane every time I'm around, what's going to start happening is we have two pairs. It's like going out to dinner with couples and you don't like one of the couple's spouses. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to go out to dinner anymore with them. Can we just skip? I mean, I'll go do certain things with them, but I don't want to hang out with them for a long term. And so I want to make sure that some of the time that we do not have Jane in that group, and we have to find something else then for Jane to do. What did we find out about Jane? What did y'all opine about Jane? Besides that, she likes to talk. She likes to chit chat. She will engage with you with chit chat.
Well, and she also liked to be helpful. So in a group setting, if you could find some role or job that she got to help, she likes to be very helpful, it seemed like.
Do you think she would be okay with a one-on-one helper, like a special helper kind of relationship where she could go get things and bring things and take things? What did we notice about her speed, though, of organization kinds of stuff, her prefrontal cortex abilities?
Slow.
Yeah, she's pretty slow. She's going to need somebody to follow or connect with. But once she gets it, she's ding, 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 ding. But she's not so much of a physical doer. That doesn't come naturally to her. So now that we're moving into intimate care tasks, she's going to be someone we probably more than likely are going to do more hands-on support with than Martha or Evelyn, because both of them showed a lot more manipulative skills and a lot more start off. So now I'm going to show us a gentleman that I was asked to see, and this goes back to we're going to start the day. And
Teepa?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm curious. I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
About Martha and Evelyn. So you're talking about pairing them up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, big picture, after several pairings and positive interactions with them paired, I wonder if Martha will then associate you with those positive interactions and be more likely to do one-on-one without Evelyn?
Maybe. I will not know until we build this relationship a good bit more. I've got to do a fair amount of work because she probably, what do you think is really going to make it pretty hard for her to separate from Evelyn? What do you think might be happening in Martha's brain that's going to make it extra hard?
They are connected and they are like one person.
How much do you want to bet that Evelyn reminds her of somebody that she has in a file cabinet from long ago who was absolutely somehow hardwired like this?
Yeah, that's my sister, and they were close sisters.
Right, exactly. And so me trying to do anything with that, she may let go for a brief period, but if my focus is on making her let go of Evelyn, guess what she'll start to not want to do? Doesn't matter how nice I am. It's got to become something where Evelyn goes and picks up a plate and brings it back over to the table while we're doing something, or Martha goes, gets a plate and bring it, it's going to have to be small, short separations of during something that we know is continuing. They're just going to take a step away because that's what Evelyn was willing and able to do. She was able to pick up the extra pieces and bring them over into the group separate from Evelyn. But, Martha was willing to do that, but she wasn't yet willing to do a whole lot more than that. So I think it's really important that we help people, because what I'm going to actually say is, this is where the idea that when I was working in head injury, I would do mouth care groups rather than do mouth care as individual opportunities. And I would do barbershop groups. So we could do shaving in a group activity. And I would do hair care groups. And so we carted the beauty shop. But what it really was is having people have their hair messed with a little bit. And what I would typically do is maybe have 3 or 4 people in that group. And by 1 or 2 people watching somebody else who was more comfortable having it done, then they were more willing to engage. And we also did foot care. And that's where nursing and podiatry would get involved. But we would have foot baths in a common space where people could go and soak their feet. And it was just sort of soaking your feet. And so people could get diabetic foot checks, which otherwise were very trauma ridden. And podiatry was really dreaded by a lot of folks. And we worked with people to provide that in a quote unquote group. But what happened, it was individual care within a setting that didn't feel so scary because we weren't corralling you in a little pen off by yourself. And so what we were doing is creating this touch, this intimate care of an extremity, whether it's hand care or foot care or hair care or face care, facials, doing something that feels intimate in that it's a lot of touching. However, it's done in a space where why would you feel safer if you did this in a public space than if I took you in a room all by yourself and had 2 or 3 people available for me? And why would that feel different, do you think?
Because the people on either side of me are doing it and they seem to be surviving. And
Yep.
actually, Teepa, I don't know if you knew this about Orthodontist, a children's dentist. If you go into a children's dentist office, we go into our dentist office and the chairs are in separate rooms. A pedodontist has them all together, or an orthodontist has them all together in a big room for that same principle.
Yeah. So why would it what's another reason I would feel comfortable that nothing awful is going to happen here, nothing that is super scary or terrible is going to happen here if I'm in a quote unquote public place? What am I counting on?
You can get
Safety in
help.
numbers.
I can get help. Other people would be watching what's going on here, and these people would not do something that was immoral, illegal, wrong, too scary. I can get help and people are watching. And so people behave better when people are watching. What do you know about speeding when a cop car is sitting on the side of the road? What do y'all know?
I know nothing about that, Teepa.
You know nothing about that. You go exactly the same no matter what.
No, I watch the other traffic. If they're slowing down, there's a reason they're slowing down, and I should too.
Yeah. And so this idea of opening up our visual regard and really working with our community or our staff or our family to say, let's look at where we do it and who we involve around it and how we might present it. So guess what? I might say to a daughter, you know what? I'm going to do your foot care first. And guess what the first thing almost always is? Oh, no. I'm fine. No, I don't really like people messing with my feet. And it's like, and yet you want your mom to get naked and take her pants off in front of you. And yet taking your shoes off and socks off in front of me makes you really uncomfortable. Yep. And so with staff, I will often say, who among the staff would be willing to volunteer to let me do foot care with you? Just to do a little foot massage. I'm going to ask you which aroma you'd like. And I'm going to do some stuff with your foot massage. Who would be willing to do that so that you can be a demo model? Now, how many of you right now are thinking of raising your hand up? Why would you be willing to raise your hand up in this situation?
Feels good.
It feels, you have a personal history of getting foot massages and it sounds like an okay thing for you. So it actually sounds pleasurable for you. So Glaylin is because it would sound pleasurable to her.
No, mine is because you said that it would help the residents get ready to do their foot care. So it's valuable.
Oh, so Amanda's going to do it because she sees the value of trying to get more people to do this, because it is a task that she sees as important, because we know edema, we know foot problems, we know hammer toes, we know toenails, we know all kinds of foot issues. And we know the person's foot is really important to know about. We know the lower extremity and how gravity might affect things, and edema. It allows us to do there's a willingness to have their foot handle is going to tell me a lot about whether or not they're going to want their private parts handled, and whether mouth care might be comfortable or uncomfortable for them. Because it turns out that level of sensitivity in the forefoot, the toes, that thing, that's a great place to check out sensation. And either I can look at their chart and know, ooh, they're diabetic. Okay, now I'm looking for neuropathies. They talk a lot about pain in their feet. They are on their feet a lot of the day. They're moving around a lot. Ooh, their history, they were a secretary and they wore stiletto heels for years. And I'm looking at how tight their Achilles tendon is. I'm looking at their balance and that kind of thing. I'm looking at their willingness to have somebody even touch or mess with their ankle, their forefoot. Can they pick their foot up and put it in? I'm looking at a lot of different things there, and their ability and willingness, and what happens if I put tension and pressure. And it also then allows me to be their support for a medical, ooh, how these toenails look really long. Wow. Hey, I'm going to have Amanda come look at these because she's the nurse. Let's have her take a look at this. This doesn't look like this could be very comfortable. Now, who's the partner now? Me. And so I'm partner up in being supportive, and I'm calling someone over. But, you know, what I'm going to say is, take a look at these nails, Manda. What do you think? And what I'm finding out is, how does the person respond to an expert coming in to this situation, a third party entering the area? And can I either turn it over, or do I need to stay in support? So it lets me know what kind of support is that person going to need if it's something that has to be done episodically. So if it's something that has to be done episodically, we could say toenails, but what's another thing that needs to be done episodically that could become problematic for an emerald? Because it only happens episodically, not every day. What else could it be?
Mouth care.
Well, hopefully that happens multiple times a day, or at least once a day, Mary. So let's look at what happens less than once a day.
Okay.
Like
Bathing, showering.
Bathing.
Showering might be one, bathing or getting clean. Yep, that could be episodic.
Getting the hair done.
Getting their hair done, or doing something, getting their hair cut, getting their hair styled. That could be, some things are daily, some are episodic. What else?
Nails, nail care.
Nail care, yeah, that one, getting the really intense parts of nail care, not just the cleaning the hands, but actually under the nails. And in an emerald state, I would still be looking for that to be episodic. When we're in the amber state, which will come tomorrow, that is a daily or even an activity-based event where you're going to have to check the fingernails for, did they carry around whatever they used in the last activity to the next activity? Because then we're talking about hygiene awareness. But with emeralds, classically, people are still skilled enough with their hands and still aware enough with their hands. But certain dementias increase the risk that their sensitivity on the fingertips, on the toes, and genitalia, in the mouth, might make this more challenging. Hair, especially Lewy body, is one where that hypersensitivity and that concern about what other people are up to and how they're doing things can make it really challenging. We can also see it after strokes, or with people, they're less aware of a certain side. So that then becomes something I look for with dementia. So we could do some foot care kinds of things. And now I'm going to show you a clip, and I want you to work with me. Let's see, do we think this guy is, because I'm coming into it now, here's what I know. It has not been a good morning. It's typically not a good morning. He has not had his breathing treatment yet. He hasn't gotten any of his medications yet. Staff had tried to approach him. It had not gone well. He had actually had another episode. Somebody had to fill out an incident report. They'd tried to get him up, and he is always in a bad mood in the morning. Okay, so that's the lead in. And some of you may have seen this video, but I want you to watch it now to determine, can we figure out his gem state? And is it emerald or is it something else? So let's take a look.
Stanley? Stanley?
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
good morning.
good morning.
It's Teepa.
What?
Teepa.
Teepa.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
You all right?
You doing all right?
Almost lady.
Yeah. You about ready to get up?
Well,
You could. All right. All right. Ooh, that's a cough you got going there. Yeah. Tell you what, let's pull the covers down. All right. You gonna help me? Help me out here. Pull these covers down. That's it. Good. Pull them on down. That's it. Excellent. Now roll to me.
Roll.
Roll over this way. Yeah. Come on over this way. There you go. Excellent. Well, now there, you're looking good. Can I turn the light on?
You want to?
Well, let me do that. I think that'll make it a little easier for us to see. Watch your eyes. I'm going to cut it on.
Cut it off.
Oh, there we go. Now, how you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Doing pretty good? You had quite a cough there.
Yeah.
You had quite a cough.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about we get up and go to the bathroom? And then we'll get you dressed. How's that? Well, let's go do it. Okay? Put your feet down and let's stand up and come with me. All right, let's go here.
All right. So evidence. Now, let me again, though, I'm going to share my screen one more time here, because what I want us to really do is quick review. In an emerald state, symptoms are really firmly developing, and we're starting to see patterns. Patterns are forming in the changes, and there is less of a full day awareness, and the challenges are more apparent, and there's more fluctuation in awareness and affect, and some common social covers are still there until they're not. What we are also noticing often is the brain is not normal, but it's also not early. They're somewhere between early and late. So they're shifting from early to middle, and they're showing more areas of the brain that are yellow and less red. And yet there will be some areas that are bright red. We also will notice that there is for sure atrophy at this point. Now, where the atrophy is occurring is still to a large extent depend on the type of dementia and the kinds of shifts and changes that we're noticing. We do know that the hippocampal area will be showing some deterioration. We don't exactly know whether it will be primarily in wayfinding, in the ability to recall previous information and pull it up when you want to learn new things and remember the new things that you want to learn, or the ability to keep up with the passage of time. But we know that there's going to be decay in that area. There are definitely going to be changes there. We are also noticing that by now we will see some deterioration in the left temporal lobe there for sure, and yet the hearing will not be changed unless they have a hearing problem. We will start to see some shift in sensory motor, but it won't be dramatic. It's mostly the wiring from step to step to step to step. And they will mostly have preserved a lot of the rhythm side of the street. However, the executive control stuff is starting to show some deterioration in wiring. And the vision, we've got more binocular and either social vision or task vision, but not both vision. So what we're looking at is changes in cognitive, getting lost, making errors, unable to make decisions, or making decisions that are not them. They're either irrational or risky, limited word selection, complex comprehension problems, looping in conversation. I mean, now notice all this. These are the things we notice right off. However, there are other things that we might notice. And then there are even more things that we might notice. So if we notice all these things, I'm going to pause us, because what we do is, if I've had an interaction with someone and it hasn't been a positive interaction, I'll tend to think they can do less, versus where they are is pretty much in an emerald state. So I'm going to ask you to go out in the two groups real quick and come up with some evidence that emerald, amber, ruby. What do you think? Given the support I offered and what he did, what do you think his gem state is, and why? And how was I doing? This was an assessment session for me. I had never met the guy. This is my very first encounter with this man, other than be careful, he'll hit you. That's the only thing I know about this guy. Be careful, he'll hit you. And he has had a bad morning already, and he never likes to get up in the morning. So be careful. He will hit you. So let's go and talk for just 5 minutes, and then it's going to be break time.
All right. So what are you guys thinking as far as gem state? What are some things that you noticed in Stanley's abilities?
From me, the approach Teepa extended to him once she entered the room. And another thing is she is somebody new to him. So he's figuring her out just as well as she's figuring him out.
So regardless of how many times she's been in the room, she treated it as a new situation as he treated it as a new person. Mm-hmm. What did you notice about his language give and take? Was he doing some good social chit chat?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. He was given chit chat with
When
her.
she spoke and she left a space, he took that turn and spoke.
Yes.
There was a
To
good
me-
give and take, give and take, give and take. What kind of language did you guys notice?
Physical touch.
Soft, sweet.
Oh, I missed it. Sorry. Say it again. What kind of language was he giving her when she left a space?
Calm and collective speech.
He was
Comic-
often repeating.
He was giving her exactly what she was giving him.
Ooh, great pickup. Great pickup. That it wasn't all new language. He wasn't bringing a whole new conversation in and moving it forward. It was almost like a repeat. Roll to me. Roll. My name's Teepa. Teepa. That last word was that reflection back, but he spoke when it was his turn. Often it was a reflection of what she gave him, though. Okay.
He had a good tone of voice. He said, "Help me out," and she invited him.
So when she offered, he said, "Oh, sure, yeah, if that's what you want to do." It was not a flat out refusal. It was simply, okay, I mean, whatever. It wasn't a like jump to it, I'm ready to go, but it really was. He just didn't quite understand a lot of the words that she was saying. When she gave him the visual, he figured it out.
But I think the important thing was that she asked for permission.
Oh, yeah. So she, every step of the way, offered and asked for permission. Now, did she say, "Do you want to?"
Right.
Not really. It wasn't that kind of offer. It wasn't a, "Would you like to get up and go to the bathroom?" That really wasn't what she offered. Yeah, interesting. Sky, go ahead.
I was noticing that he, the verbal prompt, he didn't want physical help. He wanted kind of time to do it. He didn't want like her hands on him.
Yeah, he didn't necessarily say, "Don't touch me."
No.
But did he need her help?
No, but you can
No,
see
that's the problem. We go in thinking what a lot of the time. When he doesn't do what we say, what do we often jump to?
Help.
Helping. We try to help so much and so hard that what happens?
Yeah.
Rejection.
Rejection. And in the way that he could offer it, I offered physical help that wasn't received well. So what does he respond with? A physical rejection. Who's stepping over the line, though?
You are.
I did. Oh, shoot.
You wasn't invited into his space.
Got it. You got it. So this offer and assessment that she does without thinking, it starts when?
Soon she entered the room.
As soon as she gets to where she's going to engage with.
Was able.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Sorry, I think.
Oh, you might have to throw it in the chat. I think you're going a little bit shaky on us.
Little.
Sarah was sharing, but her internet was a little bit flaky. So if you guys had anything else, just throw it in the chat so that we can hear what you wanted to say, because we didn't get to hear it.
Yeah. So overall, how many of you realized, and this is me saying to you, how many of you realize people were unfortunately treating Stanley like he was in an amber state or a ruby state, and he needed a lot of physical guidance and assistance and hands-on, and they were getting really close really fast and trying to move him through the activity without actually connecting and figuring out, oh, he's an emerald. He needs visual cues. He needs space and time to figure out what I'm trying to get at. He needs me to be responsive, and he needs me to slow down and help him with transitions because he's lying down covered. And the very first thing I'm going to want him to do is uncover so he can sit up. But I want him to uncover. Why would I assume he doesn't have the fine motor skill? I don't want to make an assumption. I want to do an assessment. Does he have the fine motor skill? Is it a problem with comprehension of language? And is it a problem with speed of processing versus is it more how I'm going about introducing the activity? And I have two people and it's a little overwhelming, and I'm coming in on his left side and I'm saying, morning, Stanley, flipping the light on right away, doing all this environmental modification, assuming Stanley gets it, it's time to wake up. And instead recognizing this transition from being asleep or resting in the bed to being upright, to engaging, to going to do something, it may need more assist in transitions. And when I assist well in transitions, I may find out I don't get the resistance I would have gotten if I had tried to do things physically to Stanley, just like what happened when I was close to my friend, not my friend, actually, Martha, because I had just met her. What happened when I was too close to her? Yeah. Yeah, she pulled away from me. So how many of us recognize every time we encounter someone who's in an emerald state, for them, it takes a while to figure out, do they know us? Do they not know us? How do I know us? Do they pick up on the name tag? Do they have enough time and space and situation to be able to figure out, what did we know even about his ability to take my name and translate it? Teepa, weird name to start with. He was Teepa in, and is there, what's your name? And so that ability to notice these things and recognize, wow, he can perform at sort of an emerald state if I give him the right support. Could it drop? Absolutely. But in this moment, do I have someone who's an emerald and is being treated as though they were less than that? And it's resulting then in distress. And so the distress is actually happening because we're doing too much, not too little, because we make assumptions, not assessments. And once that starts, and now the words are, be careful, he'll hit you. Yikes. Now we're creating in the part of other people in the environment, this sense of this guy isn't safe. And indeed, he may have episodes of acting out. What we want to recognize is those are signals of distress of some sort. So I want to be really tuned into what's going on. So what we're going to do is take an 8-minute break. And you may want to set a timer, or you might have to come back early, but I'm saying 8 minutes because I want you to do a little more than you did before. So your job during this 8-minute break is to find something in your environment that you can bring back, to have me have to do something with, and to recognize almost anything in the environment that you find, whatever you find, I don't know what you're going to find. I have all kinds of stuff here, could become something that allows us to do both assessment and provide an opportunity for engagement when someone's in an emerald state. It's not exactly what we find, it's how we use what we find. So, cha-ching. Okay, so you're going to do that in addition to taking care of yourself. So I'm asking you to bring one thing back to the table when you come back with 8 minutes. All right, so go take your 8 minutes and see just one. Don't get carried away. Don't bring the whole kitchen with you, just one thing. Okay, cool. Go take care. Vivina. Yeah, so you brought back like, is that a hand lotion or something else?
It's a moisturizing lotion, yes.
It's a moisturizing lotion. Yeah, mine says it prevents cracked and dry hands. It's a hand cream. So what do you use yours for? Is it
my
for
hands and feet?
Hands and feet. Oh, so let me show you how mine comes out, because mine has a sort of you flip the lid up. And then what you can do is you can squeeze it, and mine is almost empty. Boy, I'm gonna have to get some more. But when I do it, I mean, you have to work sort of hard, but you can get some to come out. So I've got some coming out. And then what I do is I have to close it because I don't want leaking, but I'm not sure it would. I do my palms first, and then I do the backs of my hands. And then if I have leftovers, that's when I'll do my forearms. And with yours, how does yours work? How do you get the stuff out of it?
You have to push the little lever.
Oh, so do you set it down or do you hold it?
You have to set it down.
Okay, so you set it down and then you push the top with one hand and put your hand under, or did you do it all with one?
I had to put it down on the desk and press it, and then with my hand underneath.
And so you have some in your hand? Oh, look at you, put it out on the fingertips. Wow. Okay, now do you do the palms next, or what do you do next? So you do the palms too, and then you do this, and then the backs. Do you do the backs too, or not so much?
I do, and then I do the forearms too if I have too much.
Okay, so if you have too much, yeah, great. Ooh, you're really good at that. Yeah. Now, so how do your hands feel now?
Soft.
Yeah. Okay, what have I found out about Ginger? How did I use that object that she brought back to do? What do I now know? What are some things I know about Ginger?
She has good dexterity.
She has decent dexterity. She has really decent dexterity, but she also, what else do you know about her?
She can answer your questions.
She was able to respond to my questions when I limited my question to one thing at a time, and I gave her an either or. I said, can you hold it in your hand, or do you have to put it down?
Mm-hmm.
But what was I actually trying to help her understand?
She should put it down.
She has to put it down in order to do this squirty thing very easily. She was really working extra hard, but she was doing it so we could all see it. I know why she was doing it, but what might be happening for somebody who's truly in an emerald state?
They may not remember to put it down.
They may not know the part about putting it down so they can do it. And so she's trying to do this with one hand, and it may cause distress. And I don't want distress. I want function. So what else did I find out about her? What did I do before I ever asked her to use hers?
Modeled.
I did a I share, you share. And so I showed her that I do it like this, but hers may not be like that. Was I able to do this even on Zoom?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so do I need to be in her intimate space to do this?
Nope.
I'm gonna throw it out there because this is the tricky part. What does Zoom give us, which is sort of a fake? It fakes people out.
It makes you feel like the person is right there.
Yeah, it's this fake intimate space, the visual intimate space. Can I actually touch Ginger at all? Can I physically assist Ginger at all? So this is really important to understand, is for a family member to understand when Ginger is in an emerald state, this Zoom interaction could go super. As the day wears on and Ginger's abilities are no longer so emerald, how will this interaction go? Miserably, because what will happen is the fake intimacy tricks the amber into truly believing that there is someone right there, or they can't pay attention at that level because they need the physical hands-on touch guidance.
Right. So emerald is when you like, that's good.
Yeah, so this is where I could support someone in an emerald interaction on Zoom when they're in that emerald state frequently, if there's not too much else going on. But when someone is in an amber state, I'm going to have support on the other end of the interaction with Ginger for this to be helpful, because I cannot count on Ginger's abilities. So that means this is where now we're talking about schedule. I'm actually thinking about, how do I schedule a day for someone who spends at least part of their day in an emerald state? How do I schedule their day? What are they going to need? And so this is where what I want to do is go back to recognizing what do people in an emerald state need? They need routine. They are going to need a daily routine that matches their circadian pattern. So if I have somebody who's an early bird, I really want to schedule more emerald things that happen in the earlier part of the day. And I need to recognize I may need to switch out of emerald support and into amber or ruby support if that's what they're doing. I may want to notice that my diamond is moving into an emerald state in the afternoon because they are an early bird. So the morning, they are fine. They are good. By lunchtime or shortly after lunch, I'm starting to see a strong evidence of an emerald state. And I will need to do programming for emerald. However, I need to realize that if they started off diamond, are now at emerald, they're already more in a distressed state than they would be than that they were up at emerald in the morning. This is not my healthy, excited, getting going emerald start the day. I am now with an emerald who's losing energy in the afternoon as an early bird. And I need to build things in that are going to have repetition and may have either heavy work or another setting or something that signals I'm heading out, I'm going somewhere, I'm doing something. And so I need this balance, and I need to switch the meaning in the afternoon to a traveling, a going, a switching if I have an early bird. And then I need to work in the evening with my person who may have started the day as a diamond, switched to an emerald, and now is in the amber state. They may stay emerald. I need to switch into comfort and home and nesting and settling for my early bird in a fairly early thing. And I'm really thinking about how can I give them some nourishment and some hydration, but not too much, because what I don't want to do is have a lot of sleep disturbance with having to get up in the middle of the night for them because they are an early bird and that's their cycle. So I'm going to pause there because I was a little bit abrupt with saying, if I start the day and somebody's an emerald to start the day, that's different than if the day starts with someone as an early bird as a diamond, and by afternoon, they're switching into emerald state. Because I need to recognize they're already more distressed than they would have been because they're feeling out of sorts a little bit. They are not as comfortable in the environment. And that means I need to modify my schedule to give more support, more lift, more comfort, and more sense of satisfaction in the afternoon, or I'm going to have somebody who wants to, I need to go home. I can't stay here anymore. You don't understand. This is not my home. I need my mother. I've got to talk to somebody. I've got to get out of here. Please. This is not where I stay. I don't understand. What do I do now? I don't know what I should do now. Where do I go? Or they don't come out of their room, but they're taking their room apart, or they're just sitting and they're not doing anything. So what we're talking about here is the difference between in the morning, someone's an emerald and they're an early bird. They like to get going. They do things in the morning. And then I need to program for amber, maybe ruby in ruby state in the afternoon and evening versus somebody who started off the day as a diamond and now in the afternoon. Now, if they're an afternoon person, not a morning person, what do I need to do with them in the morning as an emerald? If they're an afternoon riser, if they're like a 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock riser, they have never been much of an early morning person.
Yeah,
What do
you got to plan some of those ruby, maybe emerald tasks early in the morning to give me that chance to get started.
I might even drop back further, because what might that mean they need?
Maybe you should leave them alone.
Maybe they need pearl time in the morning. Maybe they need more pearl time and they'll come. And so what do you think might have happened with Stanley? By the time I got in there, it was 9:30, which doesn't seem that early, but in a facility, when some people are getting up at 6 or 6:30 or 7, what is 9:30 for staff?
That's late.
That's late. That's late. So what might have been happening for people going in earlier? What might they have been doing? Disrupting his pearl state sleep. And then they got the ruby amber reactions that they were getting because they were overwhelming him in that pearl state. And he did come awake, but he came awake in distress.
Winging.
Yeah. And so when I went in, I was actually going in. So, you know, it's about time to get up. Are you ready to get up? Well, yeah, I could. Was I pushing for him to get up, or did I just offer it? Did I leave the lights off? Did I create an environment that was still sort of okay if you wanted to be in a ruby or a pearl state, in a low amber sensitivity kind of state? So the tricky part here is recognizing I need to adapt the start of this emerald schedule for what the circadian pattern of the individual is. And if I do a good job of that, we're going to have more satisfied people. Less people who are starting their day off feeling like they've been jerked out and they aren't in a good place. Now, that also means if I have a night owl, guess when I'm going to have to really be on my toes to provide this assessment?
Night.
In the middle of the night. And guess what I want to find out about the setup and the environment? Are there personnel available? Who's available, and how much are they night owls that like to be by themselves, and how much are they mice who like to hang out with each other and have parties and have a good time and engage with one another and nibble and socialize and watch out for the hawks and the owls, but otherwise have a good time, knowing that we'll have a few night owls floating around surveying the area. So when I say all that, realize that I'm actually trying to create this 24-hour window that works for everybody. Because if I'm just looking at my Stanley, what I found out is he wakes up really, really easily at about 9:30. Now, how many other adjustments do you think are going to happen for Stanley's schedule for that to happen in real time, in real life, when I'm not there? What's going to happen, do you all think? I've got a lot more assessment to do. Who am I going to go assess next? Staff. Who else am I going to assess? MedPass. Who else am I going to assess? Dietary. Who else am I going to assess? Housekeeping. Who else do I need to assess? Family. Who else do I need to inform? Oh, now I have to assess and then I have to inform. So I've got a lot of work to do to get everybody on board if we're going to try one thing different, which is when Stanley starts his day and how Stanley starts his day. So what was really cool about what I got out of what I did? I have video. I have video of me interacting. Who did I ask to shoot the video while I went in there? Do you think in real time, not in this video? We actually made this video, but who might I ask to go do that?
The staff members.
Which one?
The one
normally.
Oh, one of the ones that had a hard time with Stanley. Why do I want them to watch what's happening, but hold on to a camera? What have I given them? Something that's valuable and purposeful. I gave them the job to be the recorder. Do you talk when you're recording? It tends to keep you from want to talk, and yet you're observing everything. You're doing this. And so what you have is a record of what I did, but you also got to watch it, and then we can play it back and watch it together. And we can figure some things out together. Because guess who else was in an emerald state without realizing it?
The staff member.
The staff member was going in and taking the covers off, not realizing, whoa. Did we say hey to Stanley? They turned the lights on without thinking. Why? Because they're in the middle of their routine and they were not really thinking about the other person. They thought they were, but they just have this pattern that they go through and they do it with everybody. And Stanley was the last one on their list. And so by then they'd already been through several different people. They've been up and going for a while. So guess what? They're early birds too. Let's just get it done, because what's next on the agenda? Breakfast. We got to get Stanley up so everybody can get to breakfast. And it's not that anybody's wrong. It's just that if I don't take a step back and assess my players, all my players, is Stanley going to get what he needs? Am I going to get what I want? Is staff going to get what they want? Are families going to get what they're looking for? And what I have to check out with families is, well, I know they let him sleep in, but then, you know, when we come, he's so tired. And it's like, wait a minute, what? And so what I have is a family member who might be assigning responsibility for something, and actually, you know, they let him sleep in, and that's why he's tired. So we want him to get him up early. And it's like just not being able to think about all the pieces. It's just really wanting what you want in that moment, but not actually putting all the sequence together. So I'm complicating things, but in a master sort of situation, if I'm not looking at all these players, I miss my opportunity to actually set up something that's going to work. And I won't get what I need for Stanley to have in order for this to go well. So I actually then had him videotape a little bit more, because they said, yeah. So you got him up, but now, you know, he's impossible to get dressed. And once again, the description was, you know, he's pretty much total care, and watch out because he will hit you sometimes. And all I'm going to do is show you 2 minutes, and I want you to figure out, am I accurate or am I inaccurate about the emerald?
You ready to get dressed here? Yeah, let's get your britches on. Now, the first thing I'll do with Stanley is organize the pants when I hand them to him so they're in the right position. And watch what he does. There you go. First leg goes in. Second leg goes in. All right. And he even moves to the next step of standing up and pulling up his pants. Now, you gonna want to tuck your shirt in?
Okay, so that's 2 minutes. Do you want to see the next thing he said? You know, do you just want to see that next piece to see if he does anything? Let's see here.
Yeah. Well,
Before he gets started with fastening the pants, I'm going to present the shirt.
Let's put your arms
in the right position.
Okay, in the armhole.
He got an arm in the wrong place. I help him readjust without making a big deal.
You get it?
And there he goes. He can get it over his head.
Looking good, Stanley.
I need to remember to give him some time.
Looking good. I'll be back.
Well, we all like to look good, don't
I'll
we?
be a little better than I have.
He pulls the shirt down.
Great.
Okay, I'll pause. What are we discovering? What do y'all think? Solid emerald there or something else? Yeah. And Lauren noticed something about me. I got excited. Why was I excited? Why do you think I was so excited?
Because he was doing it.
Oh my God, he is so skilled. People think he can't do anything. Whoa, they are so mistaken. I mean, God, look at this guy. And what's cool is they're watching this going, he's doing it all himself. How much did I actually do physically?
Not much.
Not much. What was I doing?
Encouraging. Encouraging.
I was encouraging and moving him forward to the next step, moving him forward to the next step, correcting just the little bitty things, but not the big stuff.
He looked happy too.
And he was happy.
He was I mean, if he looked like, hey, I've done something. Yeah.
So his energy was positive. He was up. He was smiling.
Was he humming?
He was humming. Huh. So what do you think that is for him?
Music.
Maybe music, or maybe comfort, contentment. Maybe he self-stims. Maybe he's doing a little self-stim, not in a bad way, but he's just a hummer. So who would you not want to sit him next to? How about Martha? How do you think Martha and Stanley would hit it off? Probably not so much.
Oh.
What would happen if you put Evelyn next to him?
Might be okay.
She would be okay, but who wouldn't be okay with Evelyn being okay?
Martha.
Martha. So could we have them in the same space, but not up next to each other?
Probably.
Possibly. Did Stanley come out of his way to seek me out? I mean, was he seeking me out, or was I the one intervening with him most of the time?
You were one.
I was the one doing it. So what have we found out about intimate care with Stanley? So what kind of things are you noticing? What did you notice when I brought back that video? What had already happened? Because when we came out of the bed, he was in a absolutely drenched brief. He reeked of urine. He didn't have socks on. And he had a dirty t-shirt on that was also wet, down on the bottom edges. He had not done his mouth care at all. So what do we know happened between last you saw us and when you saw us again?
You got cleaned up.
All those things happened. And as a matter of fact, he peed in the toilet, which was also something people said he never did. We got all cleaned up. He cleaned his few teeth that he still had. He brushed them. He did that. And he was out and getting dressed, and he comes out and he's ready to roll. So what does that tell us about? So I'm going to have you go to a breakout room again. And I want you to think, what would we talk with staff about in regard to this? Or would we want to show staff some of this and ask, what could we do with this? I mean, how are we going to move this from me knowing something and having recorded it to us having something that we could work with to change this routine that Stanley gets into? Because what's going to be the case if I see Stanley, let's say at 10:30 for exercise, and he has had a bad morning? What's going to be the case by 10:30 when I'm trying to engage him in doing something in the exercise group?
He's not going to be interested.
He's not going to be interested. He's not going to participate, which means he's not going to work on his mobility, which means this guy who was able to roll over independently, sit up on the edge of the bed, and then stand up and walk to the bathroom with me is going to be at risk for losing balance, coordination, safety, coordination, agility, rotational movements, the ability to bring his leg up and put his foot, in the pants, all this mobility that he has. If what he's mostly doing is resisting and pushing people away and fighting, what's happening to all that ability?
He's losing it.
He's losing it. He's losing it prematurely. Yeah. So I'm going to go give you 5 minutes to talk with your mentor, the two mentors we have, about what could I do and how could I do it? And I want you to think about the idea of asking questions, not making statements. Asking questions, not making statements, to see, and I share, you share. Think about what we've done when we've worked with Stanley that might be helpful to get people to see things differently, because we're trying to build a routine that's going to work for everybody. So let's see. Go ahead and try it and see.
I was just introducing myself, Amanda.
Can't help it. She's a mentor too, believe it or not. All right. So what do you guys think? What are some questions or some ways to offer information that might get you a little bit more about Stanley and what he likes and doesn't like right now?
What did you notice that Stanley did on his own?
So you're wanting to dig into what he was able to do on his own. You want to know what else could he do on his own, maybe.
Oh, okay, okay. So we've gone past that.
I was looking at it also as once you get a little bit of that history and putting it into, it doesn't have to be a formal, but a care plan. So therefore, the other staff members can follow your lead by knowing what he can and cannot do.
Okay, so kind of in the same vein. So Mary said, let's see what he can do. We noticed he was able to do. How did we figure that out? What did Teepa offer that helped us figure out what he could physically do?
Video.
The video helped. How did she figure out that he could do this movement?
She tried it. She got him started.
Ooh, really good. Okay, so
What's
what's the way that we often get somebody started to put on their pants?
We do it for them.
Okay, so when I'm trying to do an assessment of what can you do, how do I offer a shirt? How do I offer pants?
In the correct position to make it easier for them to put it on.
You got it. So she handed him the pants already preset so that if he were to grab them, what's the next logical step?
One leg first.
One leg first. And when she handed him the shirt, how did she prepare the shirt?
Preset to go directly over his head.
Aha. So kind of crunkled up, but lined up. So that when I hand it to you, what's the visual? Where do you grab? Automatically, where would your hands go?
The arms or the arms.
Where mine are, that's exactly right. Or you might just push your arms right through it, which is fine too. And then every offer is an offer, but set up in the step that you could take over. Wow, that's a real big change and transition for how we often offer support. So that's mobility. How would we get a little bit of verbal input or preference input from Stanley? What kind of statements could we turn into questions that would help us know what he wants to eat, what he likes to do next? Would he rather do this or that? What's a way that we start asking questions that you know will help? Because what did we say he did after everything I say? He does what with the last word?
Repeats it back.
Repeats it. So if I say, would you like coffee or tea? What's he likely going to say?
Tea.
Is that accurate, or is that just an oops on my part? How do we shift that statement so that we get an accurate assessment?
Stanley, coffee?
Ooh, okay, cool. So giving a what?
Visual.
If I want to assess preference, what do I want to make sure I've got both of?
I didn't have another mug.
I know, yeah, that was my problem too. It's like, I can offer you water. If he says no, what's the other offer? Coffee or something else, water or something else? If it's something else, we better go have a look.
Well,
you got it. Got it. Cool.
We weren't done, but we were making progress. So if I were just to hand him any which way, would it necessarily have worked so well? What if I had tried to lean down and put his foot in? He might not have liked that at all. So it really was that thing I showed him, and then he took over and did a lot. Cool. So does anybody think you could try something? Would anybody be willing to try something like that with Stanley? Like today, later, because I noticed he was wet a little while ago. I wonder whether there's an opportunity we could try something. Or should we try it tomorrow morning? Which one do you think we should try, this afternoon or tomorrow morning?
think tomorrow morning will be better.
You think tomorrow morning, you know what, Emmanuel, I think you're absolutely right. You are so smart about that because he may be different this afternoon. Tell you what, you got it. And I am so glad you thought of that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So what am I saying as a master clinician trying to engage people and engage Stanley and engage staff? What am I trying to do here? Still assessing, but also building now, because I'm doing an assessment and a build at the same time. So what am I finding out and what am I building? What do y'all got there?
You're building the staff rapport with the client.
Yeah, and how did we go about that? Rachel, your original idea of how to do it. What were we gonna do first? What was your first idea that you shared?
Well, we were going to watch the video with the staff first. And so my first idea was asking them what they noticed the difference between what you did versus what they did.
So in other words, you guys screwed up and I did it right. And so let's focus on that. How about? And instead, what did you come up with second?
Then we decided maybe you brought up the idea of being excited, where we could be excited about what Stanley was able to do.
So what did you notice Stanley did? So Rachel switched it, said, what do you notice Stanley did? And so what did Stanley do became the focus. And so that allowed us to focus on Stanley, because what we have, binocular vision in this case, I can look at what I did and you did, or I can look at what Stanley did. And once we looked at what Stanley did, what you came in on is somebody pointed out that I had to position the pants correctly for Stanley to have that success. And so now we have, so what are you gonna wanna do if you wanna have the opportunity to have Stanley have that level of success? What might you try next? So why, if I'm the engagement person, do I want staff during self-care or intimate care tasks to optimize what somebody does in those intimate care task situations? Why do I want to support that? Because that's not officially my job. And again, if I were not an occupational therapist, I would have a more challenging time being able to front this. But why is it really critical that if I'm going to really develop a 24/7 plan with nursing, we've got to figure this out? Why do we want to do that?
Well, and you're talking about it in this term of living in a facility, but is it really any different when someone's living at home and I'm the family or the person that's called in from the agency to help engage all day long?
Right. So do you think we actually think of things like, okay, so what I'm doing right now is a self-care test. What I'm doing right now is a productive activity. What I'm doing right now is a leisure activity. I mean, do we always label every minute of what we do every day as one of the three? Now I'm just waiting for you. Now I have to figure out how to occupy my time while you're sleeping and I want to get breakfast started. I mean, do we think, well, what I need is something to fill that time so I'm not disturbing you? And what could I do with that time so that I'm not feeling that need to shove or push at you, and yet I'm getting something done so I don't have a list of more things to do later on as the day goes by?
Yeah, you can't be 24/7 hands-on care partner, whether you're in a facility or at home, because you just can't do that. You need your own rest and restoration.
Yeah. How many of you have ever worked a double?
Ugh.
How many of you worked a double for a couple weeks? How many of you worked a double for a month? I mean, I've done it and I'm here to say, don't do it. You want to know when I did it? It's when we had a hurricane and people had huge power outages and I was working in a community that we couldn't get people in, we couldn't get people out. We lived in the community just like the residents lived in the community. Guess what we had to do? We had to force ourselves to take breaks because if we don't take those breaks, we won't have anything to give anybody. I mean, there will be nothing there to give. And we start making really significant errors and we start having emotional meltdowns because what are we at best then? We're in emerald state. We're in emerald state ourselves. And sometimes we even slip to amber or ruby. I mean, it's just a reality check. It's not having dementia, it's just having brain change because we're asking too much for too long and we lose our place in time and situation. It's just really challenging. So now we're going to do a little more assessment. Ooh. So does anybody have a pair of scissors nearby? Anybody have scissors? Good, good. I'm seeing some scissors pop up. I'm seeing at least a few people have scissors. Now, I only have this kind, okay? And I have strips of paper. And on my, actually, I have strips of foam. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you something. And what I'm gonna do is this strip is just the right length that if I do one snip, what happens if I do one snip? It cuts all the way through. So one snip results in a piece coming off. Now, why do I have the lines on it? Why might I?
So you know where to cut.
Because I'm giving you a target to see whether or not when I give you a tool that has purpose and value, you will be able to manipulate and use bilateral hand dexterity in order to achieve the task of cutting out these little squares for me. So I'm going to give folks who have scissors a couple of minutes to create your prop. Now, what I could do is I could have a diamond group earlier in the day or a couple of diamond state folks help me out by actually creating these strips and using a ruler and using a marker and setting up some activity props for me to use later in the day. Now, that would be kind of nice because then I would have what I need later on when I'm working with someone or assessing someone in an emerald state, because I have a whole bunch of these. And I can actually determine whether you're emerald, amber, ruby, diamond by setting up this as a true assessment activity. What are my sapphire diamonds going to come back with? A prop. What are my emeralds going to be doing?
Well, we're waiting to see you cut
You're
them up.
waiting.
I'm watching to
You're
see
waiting.
you cut them up.
You're waiting to see me cut it up because you're one of those watchers. Now, what did I do to make sure that would be something you would focus on?
Put it
Demonstrated.
Did it.
Let me see if I can get my camera to back up. There we go. So there's some specific things I did.
Turned your back to them.
Oh, so what am I telling you visually we should all pay attention to?
Your hands.
Whatever's right in the middle of the visual field. So what did I take away? Social cue. There is no social cue. This is a task cue. And I am putting it right here and I am giving you absolutely duplicative. I want you to do it just like this. And yet I'm not saying that, I'm just showing you this thing. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're going to make 6 cuts. Here you go. Now, what have I done with the scissors?
Put it in the right position.
Oh, the same thing I did with Stanley's pants. Which side of the person am I on?
Right.
The right. What am I hoping?
They're
They're
right-handed.
right-handed.
90% of the time I'm going to be accurate. Guess what lefties will probably do in this moment? If I put it right here in center field, they will reach with their left hand. Why will they reach with their left hand?
They're left-handed.
Because
They're
that's,
Dominant.
that's their dominant hand. And so what I'll go is go, ooh, hang on a second. Guess what I will have?
Left-handed scissors.
Crappy left-handed scissors. They're always crappy. They're crappy left-handed scissors. They aren't the best quality. Those are really expensive, but at least I have a set of left-handed scissors because it does tend to matter. So I hand them and they've got the left. So now what object did I hand first?
The scissors.
Okay, then what do I hand?
The paper
The paper. Where do I want to put that?
in their non-dominant hand.
I'm going to hand it a little to their non-dominant side so they'll know, keep this in this hand, put this in your other hand. And then what do you think I'm going to do for the first iteration?
Watch.
Nothing.
This is now in their hands.
You're gonna do it with them.
What have I got another set of? Good. You got it? On the second line, here we go. 2. Now, are you ready? Here we go. Now we're on. 3. All right. How's it going?
Good.
You got it? Okay, so this is number
4,
4. Now we're on
5,
5, and we got one more to go.
6.
6. Okay, now look down. Uh-oh. Guess what I made?
A mess.
A mess. Now I did 3 strips. How many pieces might I need to pick up? How many cuts did we, how many strips did we, how many different squares did we make each time?
6.
6. So, ooh, so here, hang on. I'll be right back. So we had, how many was it that we said?
6.
So what did I now go to do? What have I got now?
Paper.
I've got paper. What am I going to want?
Pen.
A marker.
Oh, the marker.
What am I, or pen, whatever. What am I going to do here?
Math.
Math. What am I checking out? Counting is a preserved skill. What I don't know is how significant are their calculation skills, their math skills. Now, why is that something that might appeal to certain people? Guess what some people were better at?
I like solving problems.
You like solving problems. You like solving puzzles. Now, what do I have on the floor that we could pick up and double check our answer?
All the pieces.
All those pieces. And what could we do when we're picking up the pieces off the floor? What could we evaluate and assess for?
Counting ability.
Counting ability.
Balance.
Balance, coordination, stoop and recover, ability to notice where all the pieces are. Do they find them all? Can they track around on the floor? How many of each color should we have?
6.
6. So how many reds am I looking for?
6.
What could I even say? Oh, get the green ones first. Let's see how many green ones we have. Now what am I doing? Word to color. And I can even say, look for the ones like this. What am I now doing? Grading the activity. So tell me why it might be important to find these kind of things out if I'm going to have somebody be in a group, work with staff, work with family members. Why do I want to know all this stuff about them? At least at this time of day in this situation, what do I have now to share? What kind of things do I have to share with people having done all this? And this was, let's say, 5 minutes of activity that I'm using for assessment. So I want you to go to a breakout for just a few. And what did you learn about me doing this thing? What do you now know about yourself and about me and about, what are we finding out? How many of you got drawn into the activity? How many of you wished you'd had foam and a pair of scissors? How many of you out there are working on your lines of squares that you can cut out? Oh, see, look at that. Alejandro's got hit. Oh, there we go. Now, what I have is that they tell me they're in the group that I can always ask to help me out, create some props that I can use with people. Nice. Ooh, great. Now I know who I have. All right, so let's go to our breakout room and talk for a few seconds here.
Where are you guys in your assessment skills? What are you noticing is a skill that Teepa has that you will try or practice, or that seemed to happen during this thing that you didn't even know you were being assessed, but you were? How did that happen like that? How does it feel like she's doing things together? So what are some of those skills that she's doing that you're now picking up on?
Instruction, following instruction.
How does she do an instruction each time? Is it, okay, I'm going to have you cut, here's some scissors. I'm going to have you cut this into 6 strips. I'm going to have you draw 6 things. Or is it something different now?
Demonstrating so you can follow.
Demonstrating first. If I'm not doing a language assessment, then do I want to give you just language and then give you a task?
No.
That's not going to tell me whether or not you are physically capable of putting your fingers in here, moving these like this and staying on 6 straight lines. That may or may not tell me, can you take in that I said, first I want you to draw 6 lines on this paper, evenly spaced, separated apart a little bit, and you may have already tuned out. Because then I hand you these, and what do these not do?
Draw a line.
They don't draw lines. So when we're giving instructions for an assessment, how often do we demonstrate as we go versus give, and then give you all the stuff? Yeah. Okay, great pickup, Ginger. Any other things you're noticing that she's got some skill in the way we're doing an assessment?
There's an aspect of she was doing it along with us. So it was like doing it together. It wasn't like you guys need to do this or you need to do this.
Oh, it takes the element of, I'm here to assess you. Here's the task I'm going to watch you do and grade you on it. Instead, she's getting really good at doing the thing without a whole lot of attention and seeming like she's very focused in this task. And yet, what is she actually doing with her body and her eyes?
She's directing the vision.
Showing you. What is she doing? Has anybody watched Teepa in these interactions?
She's actually paying attention to us.
So good. Everybody turn your body away just a little bit. Turn your body away just a little bit. And can you see, if you do side glances, can you still see how I'm doing?
Yep.
What does that do for my brain and my skill of my body? If you are not, let me get into real stance.
Relaxes you.
Oh,
You don't feel like you're taking a test.
Are you going to be more skilled or less skilled if I come alongside and do side glancing?
More skilled.
Way more skilled. Cool. So it gives me an actual better assessment. Okay. Anybody else? Any other skills that we're noticing in assessment?
I noticed she was assessing the staff, like us learners on this call. She kind of brought us in as the staff.
Yeah. So it's some place where staff and residents and families and volunteers could all be communally doing something again, rather than it being a solo operation, it allows me that freedom to watch someone else do it first.
Mhm.
And what's the reaction if you pick up green ones when I say pick up red ones?
Embarrassment.
Everybody say this, oh, thank you. All right, well, let's do the red ones first then. Is that important to note, though, in my little file cabinet as I'm doing this assessment?
All right. So Manda or Alejandro, what did y'all come up with while you were out on your little journey out there? What did you discover?
So in our room, we had a lot of really good pickups on how you're doing assessments that feel like we're doing something together, not being assessed. A lot of good body positioning, how you as the assessor are using your eyes, using your skill, using the demo, all of those things so that we were able to pick up on so many skills that usually we don't even get to see because we're in assessment mode.
Yeah. And what do you think would happen if I handed you the stuff and say, okay, now I want you to cut this into little squares? What could I miss out on?
All of that ability before that, all of the language back and forth, all of the what you're watching or liking or not liking.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool.
So what I could also do is say, oh, so, okay, gang, I've got something for us. I'm really interested in what it takes to keep your mouth and teeth healthy. What does it take to keep your mouth and teeth healthy? What's one thing? Healthy mouth. What's one thing that we need? Whoops. Somebody help me out. How do you spell healthy? HEALTHY. Healthy mouth. MOUTH. Okay. So what's one thing we need? What's something we would need to have in order to have a healthy mouth? What's one thing we would need? Toothbrush.
A dentist.
Yeah, a dentist. Oh, yeah, possibly. Yeah. Now, who here would be willing to write on the board for me? Because some of you are really good at spelling, and I'm a little slow on the spelling. So guess what gem state is going to volunteer to write on the board right away?
Diamond.
A diamond. A diamond who wants to be special, and I need her occupied and being special because I need to focus on who?
Emeralds.
The emeralds and the other members of the group. And by giving her a job, what does she not now start to do every time I ask for another answer or ask a question?
Roll her eyes.
Roll her eyes or take over and answer it really, really quick. So I've got her doing something that uses her skill set and I've engaged her. Now, could that be a staff member?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why might I want to engage the staff member in doing this? So they're engaged.
So we don't roll our eyes and
so you don't roll your
give the
eyes
answers
and,
out.
give the answers, but it's also so that if I want you eventually to run this group, could I have you start by doing something that is part of running this group, but it's second step. It's not initiation. It's actually keeping track of what people say. Yeah. So I'm engaging you in a purpose with value, and yet my emeralds are all going to have purpose and value too. So the first thing you identified, and unfortunately I'm going to have to do both, and this is the downside of being by yourself and not having somebody with you. You could, if you wanted to come over, my lovely diamond, and take over. The good news is she's just in the next room, and so she will be here in just a second. Cool. So the first thing y'all mentioned was a toothbrush. And you are absolutely right. Any other ideas for what would take a healthy mouth?
Toothpaste.
Toothpaste.
Toothpaste. So having having toothpaste. So we want toothpaste and we want the toothbrush. What else do you need when you're going to brush your teeth? Most of
Floss.
Floss. So we need floss. Now, is that brushing your teeth or flossing your teeth?
Flossing your teeth.
Flossing. So let's stick with brushing right now. What else might we need for brushing our teeth?
A cup of water.
Oh, so we need some water. And what's holding the water?
Cup.
A cup. Okay. Anything else you might need when you're doing mouth care?
Listerine spit in.
Oh, mouth rinse. Oh, rinse. Something to spit in. Oh, good. Yeah, you guys are right. Something that you're going to spit in.
Mouthwash, maybe.
Oh, mouthwash. Okay, maybe some mouthwash. What's one more thing many of us are going to need? I know I will.
Floss.
Oh, something to wipe my mouth off when I make a mistake. I mean, because I'm liable to have stuff going someplace. So here's what I'm going to see whether folks would be willing to do. I actually want us to see what happens. And I have some fresh toothbrushes for everybody. And what we're going to do is we're going to work on a couple things. So Amanda, here you go. And I hand out toothbrushes. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start, because I was with someone, and one of the things, they're a dental person, and they said, curl your top lip back. So let me see snarls. Can y'all do snarls? And then take your toothbrush and go like, oh, wet it first. You want to wet it. And then go down, 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 down. Now, how many of you already do that? That's sort of what you do. That's how you do your teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, you do the sides. Oh, so they said to try the down, down, because sometimes stuff will get stuck there. And then they said go up, up. So try the up, up. See what happens with the up, up. Okay, and now, same thing. Down, down, up, up. Down, down, up, up. Now you have to switch to the other side. Now, how many of you find you're following along with me?
Teepa, I went to the bathroom so I could get my toothbrush and brush my teeth with you.
So this is a group activity. This is not something we would ever think about doing. Why am I doing it here though? Is it because I really want you to brush your teeth, or do I want to see something about your abilities? What do I want to notice about you?
Manual dexterity.
Manual dexterity. What else?
Able to follow directions.
Your ability and willingness to do this following of directions for something that is truly something you typically do in private. I mean, you don't publicly brush your teeth. And yet, because I'm standing here doing it, what am I saying to everybody?
But it's okay.
It's okay to do this. Now, who's the one that I want doing it beside me who classically would never do that? My diamond. I want my diamond doing that in public, because what did I say I wanted her to eventually be able to do?
Right on the board.
Actually, I have her writing on the board now, Sharon. What I want her to be able to do
from the group
is run the activity with an individual in their bathroom using this routine.
Oh.
I am so friggin' sneaky. I am really, really sneaky, aren't I? Because what I'm doing is I'm teaching how to engage someone who's in an emerald state in an intimate task, and I'm doing it in a group setting. And I'm not making you feel like you don't know anything. I feel you guys that feel smart, it's not like you don't. And I could be doing this with a number of people who residents. Who do I have helping me? A staff member. What is the staff member actually getting a chance to practice and feel just like it's an okay thing? This isn't me reprimanding. This isn't me training. This isn't me saying, you guys are not doing mouth care as often as you should be. And you are not, you've got to get better at the mouth care. Am I fussing at anybody? Am I harping at anybody? Am I supporting people? And are they getting to see what the people that they would be working with are doing. Can they possibly then, now Amanda, what did you notice about Teepa when she was doing hers?
Well, I thought she was right-handed, but then she actually
She
switched it over
switched
to her
it
left.
to the left, huh? So when you're showing her what to do,
I've been doing her right hand the whole time.
oh, so I wonder whether,
Yeah, switch it over.
I wonder what would happen.
Yeah,
That's a really cool idea.
yeah.
Yeah. Would you be willing to try it with her and let me know how it goes?
She's more challenging for me. Is there anybody, or can I do it with you left-handed first?
Oh, that's a great idea. So you can practice me doing it left-handed to see how it goes with me before you do it with Teepa. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So what did Manda tell me? Thanks. What did Manda tell me without saying it out loud?
Uncomfortable.
She's uncomfortable working with Teepa. I mean, and part of it is she thinks maybe it's the handedness, but she isn't sure that's the only issue going on. And so what she decided to do is work with me instead. And what she really would like me to do is what?
You work with them.
You work with Teepa, but what did I say instead? Try it with me first and let's see how it goes. So I kept her from moving too far forward because she wanted to jump ahead to me just taking over and doing it with Teepa. And ultimately that's not what I want. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. I know I waited a little long here and you may be desperate for a break. We're going to make it just a 6-minute break this time. It's a quick 6-minute break, a little bit more than 5. Remember those objects you brought? I'm going to pull out a couple of them. I'm going to ask people to share a couple of them. So if you're really excited about your object, you may want to hold it up so we can see it. And we're going to take a break, 6 minutes. Come on back. Take care of yourselves. When we are talking Amber Ruby, we're often, and Pearl particularly, we're talking a 6 to 12 to even 15-second delay. We can see a processing high-level delay in finding a memory bank.
Mm-hmm.
So what can happen with an emerald is you're in the middle of a conversation. They go, oh, you're the activity lady. And it's like, I sure am. But we've been talking for like 15 minutes and finally the cha-ching happened and the penny dropped. They were still liking me and they were still interacting with me, but they hadn't figured out who I was to them. But they were willing to be in the time with me. And that's when they did more time with me. Finally, they found the matching visual and the matching memory picture and went, oh, and it could very well be, you're the chorus lady. And you're thinking, yeah, no, I don't think I am. But you'll say, I love to sing and I love to get people together to sing. You could be absolutely right. Were you wanting to get in were you willing to be in a chorus? I mean, do you like singing in a chorus? Because I'd be happy to have that happen, just like this. What's the thing about working with emeralds that you're going to want to have? Yes, you need to build a daily routine and schedule, but what do you have to be willing to be?
Flexible.
Spontaneous, like super spontaneous in that moment. Ooh, so if we were going to start a course, if we were going to have a course, I am really curious. Soprano, alto, tenor, bass. Who would sing what? Rachel, what do you got? What would you sing?
I'd sing soprano.
You'd sing soprano. Ginger, what about you? Are you a soprano or something else?
Alto.
Alto. Ooh, excellent. Okay, we got an alto, we got a soprano. Rosin, what about you? Rosin.
It's Roisin.
Roisin.
I have no idea. I'll be nothing.
Oh, would you be in the audience? Every choir, every choir, every chorus needs an audience. Would you do that?
Sure.
Tell you what, sit over here because we surely are going to need an audience for this. You are so wonderful. Thank you. Amy, what about you? Amy Cole, what about you?
I would be sat next to Roisin.
Excellent. So do you guys want to sit together or do you want some space?
I'll sit next to her.
Okay, now that was an emerald response. How many seconds delayed was it? What was she really trying to think about? I mean, she truly took that long to think about her preference. And she decided she didn't want to hurt her feelings, but she was like, I'd rather sit by myself. But yeah, I know that you're supposed to say that. So what am I doing with a group?
Getting them to participate. Oh.
I am getting them to participate, but I'm also evaluating and assessing the situation at the same time. And so what do I really want people to do? I want them to get up and move. I want them to not be in those same chairs in the same space doing the same thing. And when somebody gives me a lead, I'll take that lead and I will spontaneously start working with it. So, okay, audience, because audience, you're first. So we have a couple people in the audience. You can decide if you want to be in the audience because I didn't have a chance to do everybody. Okay, audience. And I'll need my, and this is where, again, what do I have that I can get my diamond to do?
Scribe.
Be the scribe right on the board. Oh, she knows her job. She's all excited. I don't actually need you, Amanda. But in this situation, I could say, okay, so audience, what kind of music would you like to hear? Do you want something like, would you like things from musicals or would you like sing things from like the faith, like from the church, some hymn, or would you like some kids songs to start us off or something else? What would you like, audience members? What would you like to hear? Because choir, we always got to sing what they like, or, the audience will walk out on us. So, what are you thinking? What would you like? Now, what do I have to be prepared for? Some of my choir members are going to tell me what they like. What am I going to accept? They have opinions too. So Amy, what was yours? What were you thinking?
Musicals.
Musicals. Ooh, so some musicals. Okay, so let's see. Rodgers and Hammerstein or something else?
Anything.
Anything. Ooh, anybody know some Rodgers?
Something with some pep. Something with some pep.
Something with some pep. You want some energy. Ooh, how about, oh, what a beautiful
morning.
Oh, what a beautiful
day.
I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. All right. All right. I think that's one for I think that one we'll put on the agenda. Now, how about something from My Fair Lady? Something that has energy. Ooh, how about, I know two because I did it in college. I was in the play in college. I wasn't the star, trust me. I can't sing that well. You already heard that. Okay, how about all I want is a room somewhere. So Loverly, that one, wouldn't it be lovely? And the other one is I'm getting married in the morning. Okay, which one do you want to try? Which one shall we try?
I'm getting married in the morning.
I'm getting married in the morning. Okay, now here's what I have to be prepared for. Alejandro suddenly starts asking,
hey, can we do something? Do you have something in like the, where they're the do.
Oh, how about from
City,
Greece?
Motor City kind of.
Yeah, something from Motor City. How about something from Greece?
Oh yeah, I like that. What is it like? What is it? What does it
sound like? Let's see, Greece. Let me think. Let's see. What's something from Greece? Anybody help me out? Oh, wait a minute. Who's got a cell phone?
Go Grease Lightning.
Grease Lightning. Go Grease Lightning. Go Grease Lightning. Do you know the words, Sarah? Because you're moving really good. Do you know the words?
About every other word.
About every other word.
I need the music to be playing.
So this is where, what do we want to pull up? Alejandro, that's a great idea. Oh, hey, Amanda, would you, you know, this is where I have a staff member who's really good with a cell phone. I want to know who my really good with a cell phone people are. And say, could you look up Grease Lightning from Greece? And could you play a clip for us? Would you be willing to do that? So I've set them off to the side on their agenda. They're looking at, do they feel purposeful? All right, now here's when it hits Alejandro. Has anybody seen my wife?
Well, because you need to dance to this kind. I mean, you like to dance with people.
Oh, you like to dance with people. Now, what actually triggered this? So this goes back to Amy's question. How long can delayed processing take place? And my response of something I did earlier on that I thought was done and gone is still being
processed,
looped. This is where we have to always keep in mind we've got an emerald who gets caught in loops. So even though they on the surface are moving forward, guess what the deeper part of the emotional part of their brain is doing?
Thinking.
Wife, I'm getting married in the morning. My wife, where's my wife? What happened to my wife? Why is my wife not here? And so this is where in any moment of time, I've got to be prepared for emerald distress, emerald disconnect, emerald, this isn't the right place, this isn't the right time, these aren't the right people, I gotta go. I've got to go do something else.
Oh, and by the way, the one that I found the video that you wanted to do right now.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, the one with the Grease Lightning. I found it and it's ready to play.
And it's ready to play. That is super great. So I know that Sarah is going to move to the music. Manda, could you play the music? Sarah, can you do the movements while Manda does that? Alejandro, you're looking for your wife.
Yeah.
So where do I move Alejandro and I? To the back of the room. Where does Sarah and Amanda get to do their thing? Can I stop Amanda in her tracks at this moment without creating another emerald situation on my hands? What's going to happen to my group of emeralds if I'm not careful? Oh, look. Oh, my heavens, who did she get? Oh my gosh.
Travolta.
Oh my gosh, she got John Travolta. Now, what's going to happen if she plays this little video to most of the group? What are they going to get sucked into?
Dancing.
Video.
They're going to get sucked into the video. Who can I go work with then while they're sucked into the video? And I could say, play it again, Manda. We're working on the words this time. Am I having to juggle at this point?
Yeah.
Who's going to be tired by the end of this session? Who's going to need a break?
The diamond.
Who's the one? Yeah, me. I'm not diamond anymore. I'm actually going, oh my gosh, what time is this group over? Are we done yet? I need it to be done. And the challenge that I'm facing is if I don't have the right support in place, if I don't have someone that can help Alejandro, I've got to figure out if I don't take care of my one emerald, what's going to happen to that emerald? And I've got to make a choice, the group or Alejandro. Because can you do both at the same time, realistically? Can you really do that?
No.
No. Did I learn something? What did I learn about Alejandro?
He's got a connection to his wife.
He's got a connection to his wife. And when things come up that remind him of being married, dancing, there are a lot of rhythm kind of things that all of a sudden, wow, can he click back in time and not realize she's been dead for 5 years. I mean, that is gone. That is absolutely not there. And so all of a sudden in this moment, where is she? I've got to find her. Yeah. And we go from a comfortable, fine with what we're doing kind of emerald. And it happened like that. And that's the part where if we are too busy doing something that's too complicated, what we do is we get flustered because I can't figure out how to parse out what we're doing. And this is the biggest challenge when you get asked to put up too many people in too little space with too many issues at about 2 p.m. And it's one of the biggest problems we have. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're trying to do a couple of things at the same time. And almost universally, somewhere between 2 and 5, this window of emerald distress will start rolling. I mean, it will build and we'll have more and more folks that are distressed. Now, what did people say they wanted?
Music.
Up energy music. What do they actually need?
Spa music.
Down energy music. And so what we heard was, I would really like this. And in fact, no, that's not what they need. It's what they would like. But what they actually need is a drop the energy music, but it's got to connect and energize them a little bit. So wouldn't it be loverly is a better song than Get Me to the Church on Time, where they're ending up dancing on the tops of tables, jumping off of things, all like they're shrill and they're active. And so what we really want to be thinking is, if I have a high energy song, how can I then take it to a lower energy and a lower energy so that we're not all high energy and then drop? So we're going to pause because we are almost to where we only have 15 minutes left of this class. And I want to know what you want to spend the last 15 minutes doing. Do we want to deal a little more with emerald distress and some options there? Or do we want to talk more about other engagement options using the objects you brought? We could do either, but I can probably only do one well. And so we have to make a choice, which is all about helping emeralds, making choices and deciding which one you'd like to do. So let's everybody sort of put your 10 cents in, 2 cents, 3 cents in worth, if you would.
The staff over here is voting for emerald distress.
Emerald distress.
Distress, yeah.
A lot of distress people. You want to do some distress and you want to hang on to your objects. All right. You found something to do with them. I bet you could do something with them anyway. Cool. All right. Well, we'll deal with emerald distress unless I hear otherwise. So what I'm going to do is show you some slides just really quickly about what classically what signals sort of some emerald, what are some indicators that emeralds might be distressed and what is it they might be missing? What might be the thing that's causing this distress? And frequently what I would say is that we're missing the cues. We're missing some cues that we need to pick up on. So I'm going to share my screen. As soon as I get to the right button and don't push the wrong thing. Okay, so this, but not that. All right, let's try that. So we're going to go here. So I'm going to actually start here with, of those things that you see here, what are things that might cause you distress? What would cause, as you read these words, what might cause you to be distressed?
Being lost.
Getting lost, when you feel like you don't know where you're supposed, how to get where you want to be, or you can't figure out where you are. What else?
You can't find where you parked your car.
You cannot figure out how you have the way to get out of here. You can't figure out an exit plan. So it could be you can't figure out how to get out of this place, or you can't figure out how to get away. So you don't know where your vehicle is that will take you away from this and get you home or get you somewhere. What else?
Making errors.
If you make mistakes and people point out your mistakes, ooh, that's not your shirt. What are you doing? No. That's not where you sit here. You sit over here. What do you, hey, Ginger, What are you doing with those scissors? Those, that's, no, those aren't yours. Those are sharp. Let's put those up. What do I sound like?
Mother.
Ending.
Your mom. So do people really get distressed when somebody in authority makes it sound or feel like you've done something wrong or you're incompetent? So an authority figure making you feel incompetent. What else?
Looping in conversations at the short spurt.
Yeah, so you're looping and you want to have a conversation, but you can't find the words. And so, no, look, I need to get out of here. I mean, can you help me? I mean, can you help me or not? I mean, what's going on here? Why are these people all here? I want them out of my house. I need them to leave. I just need them out of here. I don't even understand who invited them. This is my house and I want them out. Please call the police. I don't even know how they got here. I never invited them. So what am I literally saying in these moments? Either I need to get out or I need them out. In other words, I feel trapped. Let's look at this one. What might make me look at this laundry list? What might make me start to become distressed? Particularly look at these guys.
Roaming and looking a lot.
So if you keep telling me, go sit down, that's not your room. Come on, come back this way. Come stay with me. Where are you going? Don't go down that hall. Ginger, come on back. Where are you going? Honey, you don't need to get in the elevator. Stay down here. I'll take you up in a little bit. Okay, just wait. Stay here with me. Hey, Ginger, can you come out of your room? Come down. I want you to come and Ginger, don't be like this. Come on, Ginger, come with me. Come on, you know you like music. Come on down here. Remember, we're going to do the choir. What are you thinking now, Ginger?
I'm tired.
I'm tired. I've told you I don't want to be with you, and that's what you're doing. And so me trying to pull you out of that space is going to cause distress. What else might we notice? Shut up. Shut up. You're always so loud. Just shut up. Now, where might that be happening?
Teepa, that would be me. I would be telling you, even if you were saying that to Ginger, I would be telling you, shut up, lady.
So
sundowning.
Yeah, so
sundowning.
Sundowning. This is that time of day where there's a lot of transition going on. And Teffy is trying to be helpful. And what she's saying is, I'm making too much noise in my effort to get my other person to come back and be. Now, how many of you know that when somebody follows you around a lot? So this is also where we see one resident say about another resident, oh my God, she follows me everywhere. I need her to sit somewhere else. I mean, could you help me? I mean, like, oh my God, help me out. She keeps coming in my room. She keeps following me everywhere I go. Please do not put her at my dinner table. I mean, I don't mind at lunch. I had her at lunch, but dear Lord, if she asked me once, she asked me 50 times, what are we going to do tonight? And I don't know. Oh my God, do something. Could you do something? So what am I signaling? I'm a diamond. What's happened to me though, with somebody being my partner? So this is what would happen with Martha and Evelyn as the day wears on. Who gets grumpy?
Some of them get tired of each other's presence.
That's right. And so they're tired of one another. And it's like one of them is not, they need the other person, but that person doesn't want them anymore. And so, well, what did I do? I'm so sorry. Please don't be mad. Please don't be mad. Oh, shut up. And so this is this, oh my God. And this is where we call this the meltdown time. I mean, this is this arsenic hour. So let's do a role play. So we're going to allow, either Amanda or Alejandro to be my helper. Which one is it going to be?
I help her. Do you mean the person in distress, Teepa, or something else?
I'll be the person in distress, and you're going to be the skillful person.
Okay, well, Amanda just dropped me on the spotlight, I think, so I guess I'm in.
I guess you're in. That's the problem when Amanda's in control of things. See, that's the problem when you let a diamond be in control. Yeah. Cool. All right. So hey, listen, I got to get going. I need to get out of here. I've
You
got
got to
to
get out of here.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I need to go now
You
because
got to go now.
yeah,
Oh, Teepa,
yeah.
home or somewhere else?
I just need out of here. These
You gotta
people
get
are
out of here.
driving me nuts. None of them will shut up, and they're
Outside.
well, out at least out of here. Come on,
Tell
can you
tell you
open
what.
that door?
Gotcha. Come this way with me. We're going out.
Okay, well, let's go. Now, what do we need to do at that moment? Truly.
Go to wherever our nearest outside space is. Get out of this space because something's not right for you here. Is all I know. That's all I figured out.
I need to exit. I need to enter a space that is bigger, that is broader, that is different, that is open. I need a brain reset. I need somebody to hit the environmental reset button. I literally need out of this space, away from these people. I need to stop the sensory intake. I need it to stop. And I need surfaces that feel very different to me. And that could be temperature, it could be air movement, it could be flooring, it could be what I can touch, what I can sit on, whatever I'm doing. I need absolutely a total reset. Now, how often am I going to hear that's all well and good, but we can't do that? And what am I going to tell you is not going to happen then? If I have told you what I need and we are not willing to listen to my clear statement of what I need to get out of here. These people are making me crazy. Taking me to another indoor space is risky. Literally letting me have a reset. And what we know about being in the world without boundaries, without walls, an open space. When I have binoculars, if my visual is that I have been freed from confinement. Now, when Alejandro gets there, what does he need to do?
Actually, I think want to do a check-in to see if this is going to be okay for a bit, or if we need to shift some more to it. I mean, I don't know. So I took it as you want to be outside, Teepa, but I think realistically we could do a check along the way, because likely for me to get outside, unless the door's right here, I got to hit a different environmental space. So I could say here or not here.
Not here, out. I said I want out.
This one?
Yes,
Outside.
out. Yes, let's. Now, what does Alejandro want to have with him?
Some way for me to get in contact with someone else.
You want an emergency call system. You absolutely do. Where do you want to be for me? If it got to this point, what does it tell all of us that we missed early on? What did we miss earlier?
Warning signs.
Warning signs. We missed our warning signs. We missed a change in language, a change in visual behavior. We missed a change in movement patterns. We missed some signals because emeralds, although they have quick explosions, they give you some signals. Now, they could be relatively quick, but we didn't give ground in some zone, and we may have used too much up earlier. And we got revved up too high, and now the engine's running on full, and the fuel's emptying out, and now we got to go somewhere. The reason Alejandro might want an emergency call system, he may want somebody to bring out lemonade and cookies. He may want them to bring out something that we know she likes to eat, or something she likes to touch, or something she likes to remember. We may want to bring something out that's familiar, but we want to bring it out in a place that is less familiar. Now, what does that mean that has to happen back on the home front? We got to, before we take off, we need to say, I'm involved in this. Someone has to handle what's going on here. This is the tricky part of this emerald state, and it's why it often causes lots of conflict and distress. But this willingness to literally leave a space with somebody can make a big difference. So let's review it again. Look, I've got to get going. I can't stay here.
Teepa, you gotta go.
Yes, it's time. It's time right now to go.
We gotta go. Teepa,
Yeah,
outside.
they're
or-
waiting for me. They
They're
are
waiting for
waiting
you.
for me. Yeah.
Come this way.
No, you don't understand. I don't know how to get there. I don't
Oh.
know where they are. I don't know how to get there to them.
Teepa, is it little kids or something else?
No, it's the group. It's the ones that I'm supposed to do.
The ones you're supposed to do.
Yes.
Oh, is it Teepa? Is it singing or something with?
No, not singing.
Not
It's
singing.
the one I'm supposed to run it. I'm supposed to do all of it, and I don't know where they
you got
are. I have no idea.
The
They
one
didn't
you're
give
running.
me The thing.
I know it. I know it.
know it?
Yeah, come with me.
You know where they are?
Yeah,
Oh my
I
God.
do. So you can run
Okay,
it with
well,
me.
wait,
Come on,
wait,
let's go.
Now, you know for sure?
Oh, I got it.
How much time before it goes?
We've got 10 minutes.
I need to pee.
Gotta pee. Okay, tell you what, let's stop here.
Okay, good. 'Cause
Hey,
that's
Amanda,
part of-
I'm bringing Teepa to your group. She's gonna help you run it.
Oh, good. Okay, so
ready,
let them know
Amanda?
I'm getting things together. Okay.
I got that. Okay.
Oh man, I've got to go badly. So I'm going to pause and we'll come back to the large group.
Amanda, you didn't drop yourself in spotlight to help me out. See, I knew I was a lone ranger here.
That make you feel better? Here I am. I'm here to help. I was
You're
on the
here to
phone.
help. You're here to help. You're here to help. So what did Alejandro need in that moment? Why did he need help?
It seemed like he had no idea what she was looking for. And yet he sort of played all his cards and he had a thought, but just in case.
The problem was I did think I knew what she wanted because I thought we were replaying the same dang thing again. And I went in with that, like, I know where to go instead of just listening to Teepa.
So why did I trick you, Alejandro? Because I tricked you. But why did I trick you? Was I just being mean to you?
No, because then it helps me actually use the skills that I have, but actually help you in this distressed moment with something that's slightly different.
So what was another, I mean, one of them is just I'm empty, I'm running out. What's the other reason I might think I need to go something's wrong? I know something's
You actually,
wrong.
yeah, in this one, it wasn't so much I need to leave. Yes, you needed to leave, but you actually you were actually late for something. You had to run a group. You had to do something that was of importance.
And what was really underneath that I didn't have any idea of?
I would say you may need some more activity time or purpose.
He missed it because he was really working on being there for her and what in fact
she just had to pee.
She just had to pee. Yeah, it was an easy one.
We got that too.
I had to pee and I knew I was running late. I was about to lose control of my urine. So when do you think I might have held my urine a long time previously in my life?
At work?
When I ran groups, when I ran training sessions, sometimes people would ask me questions during break. And so I wouldn't make it to the bathroom during break. And so what would end up happening is by the end of a 4-hour thing, I never took a break. So what would happen is I knew that we were waiting for that last one, but God, I have to go to the bathroom, but I know I'm responsible for this group. So why did I finish us off with that as the last piece of dealing with emerald distress? What do we sometimes forget? Because they seem sometimes, people who are in an emerald state seem fairly well put together. What do I sometimes forget is fading and not always working effectively? The sensory motor connections, because they have a lot of fine motor dexterity and all that, but what they lack is sometimes the ability to hear the signal coming from their bladder and being able to recognize, oh, that distress I'm feeling is because my bladder is really full, not because I have a class of people that I'm supposed to be teaching and I don't know where the class is. I did have that experience as well. I mean, we've all had the experience maybe where we were supposed to be somewhere and we got turned around and we weren't sure how to get there. And we probably, even when we were doing that, might have planned to stop and go to the bathroom right before we got to the class because we allowed enough time. But now that we've been lost, and So what is that? Is that a factual memory or an emotional memory?
I would
When
say
I'm
it's factual.
It's factual, but is it also emotional?
It is.
Yeah. So when I lose the facts, what do I keep in an emerald state?
Your feeling.
My feeling, my emotions. And in that moment, my brain misremembers some of the details of it, but I know that I've got to get going and I'm lost and I need help and I've got to get directions. And what I may not know is what I really need is go pee. And once I go to pee and I get the urine out of me, guess what will happen to my brain? Cling, I'm back a little bit. Now, I may still wonder about, now, where are those people I'm supposed to work with? But guess what you could do in that moment? Bring me back into the space I was in.
Teepa, I'm here to grab you for that session you were going to help
Oh,
me run.
yeah. Okay, well, sure. Well, let's get going. Wait, I have to wash my hands first.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, you need to wash your hands after you pee. You know that, right? Yeah, you need to be more thoughtful. You know, did you wash your hands? Because there are people who don't wash their hands.
You know, it's been long enough. I might just do it again. Thanks for helping.
You're welcome. Cool. All right. Believe it or not, you have spent 4 hours. And I'm hoping that you've walked away with something that you didn't have when you came in. And even if you did have some things, you put some puzzle pieces together a little differently. You got your brain working in a way that you might have not noticed, and you might be able to see things, hear things, and even try things differently when you walk away. So I want to thank everybody who came and everybody who participated. And I want to especially thank my Amanda mentor and my Alejandro mentor and all the folks who made the effort to be part and parcel of this. And we would love to have some feedback on whether this met your needs or whether there was something we could do differently that you think would be more helpful. And for those of you who are returning, we'll be working with Amber State tomorrow. So thank you so much for your time, effort, and energies, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
You too.